Chapter 501 Green Spirit Bottle and Law Thunder Sea. While flying, Yi-chun became curious about the second training ground, Chenya Platform. At the first assessment location, Myriad Dragon Cavern, everyone saw only Yi-chun's astonishing assessment results. But what no one knew was that compared to the 3,969 assessment points he obtained, Yi-chun gained something even more significant. That is, on the third day of the assessment, after finally hunting 3 True God-level real dragons, Yi-chun directly obtained True God-level dragon blood. Furthermore, there was the Dragon Heart Grass King that had not been used yet and had caused a war of myriad dragons. The low-level dragon blood that Yi-chun had previously purified was no longer of much use. The luminescent child directly purified genuine True God-level dragon blood for Yi-chun. Ultimately, after slaughtering over 3,900 true dragons, Yi-chun used the True God-level dragon blood in the remaining 4 days to start cultivating the undying divine body. In the prior month of the 88 Secret Room's physical cultivation, Yi-chun's undying divine body already saw a huge increase in divine strength, and in combination with the foundational 810 forms of the frozen divine body, his physical strength surged. And with the True God-level dragon blood, after 4 more days, Yi-chun truly completed the cultivation of the first volume of the undying divine body. Yi-chun thoroughly linked the undying divine body with the undying devil vine stars, drawing upon an immensely powerful physical strength from the undying devil vines. After completing the cultivation of the first volume of the undying divine body, Yi-chun began cultivating the second volume, starting with the undying factor. This undying factor has the amazing ability to recover fighting strength, and it is the key power that lets the undying divine body showcase its might. Summarizing both the first training ground and the first assessment location, Yi-chun's gains in physical combat were definitely significant. This naturally made him extremely curious and anticipating towards the second and more precious true chi cultivation ground. Not just Yi-chun, but other martial artists who were flying with him to the second training ground were also very excited. At this time, after the first round of eliminations, over 5,000 people remained to continue their cultivation at the second training ground. The little provincial princess, Feng Luo, was by Yi-chun's side. Ever since Yi-chun's results far exceeded the little provincial princesses, the little girl grew even more curious about Yi-chun and found excuses to talk to him. On the way to the second training ground, she flew alongside Yi-chun. This made the 4 young men, Tian Li, Zhao Xian, Meng Qi, and Hu Lin, both envious and jealous of Yi-chun. Each time the little provincial princess spoke with Yi-chun, the 4 young men felt pained. At this moment, while flying towards the Chenya platform, the little princess was giggling as she said to Yi-chun, "Brother Yi-chun, you were the strongest among all of us in the previous 3 life sign tests. When we go to Chenya platform for cultivation, your gains will definitely be the greatest." Seeing the little provincial princess's expression, it was obvious she was quite knowledgeable about Chenya platform. From his conversation with Feng Hua, Yi-chun only knew about the general situations of several cultivation grounds, but even Feng Hua was not clear about the specific features of each ground. Seeing the little provincial princess appearing to know about the Chenya platform, Yi-chun looked at the white-clothed little girl beside him, who was only shoulder-high and not yet fully grown but already resembled a beautiful young lady, and asked with a smile, "Little provincial princess, what exactly is the Chenya platform used for in the cultivation of true chi?" "Chenya platform," said the little provincial princess with rotating large eyes and shining black pupils looking at Yi-chun. "Brother Yi-chun, the Chenya platform is situated above a sea of laws. In the past, the heavenly cloud venerable traveled through countless realms and star continents, leaving opportunities for them to be transmitted to minor pole sky and at the same time, collected the foundational law force of countless realms, placing it inside a divine artifact called the Green Spirit Bottle. Eventually, he refined a sea of laws from the divine artifact. This law sea, containing the foundational law force from numerous realms, greatly aids in the cultivation of true chi and law comprehension. Even my father has not gone through the trouble of collecting such a vast amount of foundational law force like Heavenly Cloud Venerable. That's why I specifically came here to cultivate and make up for the deficiencies in my true qi and law comprehension. Once you reach that law sea, Brother Yichun, you'll know how to cultivate. I heard it's very dangerous there, but it also offers great opportunities. Maybe, Brother Yichun, if you persevere, you can make a breakthrough to the late rotating pill stage. A breakthrough to the late rotating pill stage. Yichun was taken aback. One should know that going from the middle to the late rotating pill phase requires deeper comprehension of laws, which takes a considerable amount of time to achieve. Many cultivators in the rotating pill phase remained in the middle stage for hundreds of years, never succeeding in reaching the late phase until the end of their lifespan. Yichun was prepared to invest several years, or even over a decade, to earnestly strive for the late rotating pill phase. This was only possible after he had acquired countless secret treasures and insights for cultivation from the Five Elements Mountain. Yichun had not anticipated that, according to what little provincial princess had said, the second cultivation area in Minor Pole Sky, Chenya Platform and Law Sea, could directly assist him in entering the later stages of rotating pill, combining the danger mentioned by the little provincial princess with the need to persist. Yichun grew even more curious about the Chenya platform that lay ahead. Yichun and the little provincial princess conversed in low voices as they flew. As for the little Lolita princess, Yichun had no particular thoughts. Seeing that she had not yet fully matured, he merely regarded her as a little sister who had not grown up. However, the sight of their conversation to others stirred different thoughts in their minds. Divine Venerable Hongzhu was indeed happy to see the little provincial princess and Yichun talking together. As for the four young descendants of the four great generals, Zhao Tianli, Meng Qi, and Hu Lin, at this moment their hearts wailed in despair. It's over, it's over. Yichun keeps showing his prowess, and the little provincial princess no longer pays any attention to us. Where on earth did this monster Yichun come from? He's definitely not like a warrior from a lower realm. He's even more powerful than us who have cultivated in the divine kingdom. The lower realm warriors flying beside Yichun, such as Feng Hua and others, admired him greatly. Forget about gaining the favor of the little provincial princess. They couldn't even talk to her with the ease and composure that Yichun had. This was the little daughter of the East Territory King of the Divine Kingdom. Among the top echelons of the truly powerful in the Divine Kingdom, the warriors from the lower realms feared even fearing her, let alone conversing with her so casually. Yet Yichun was totally indifferent about the little provincial princess's status, casually chatting and joking with her, which required a tremendous inner strength. Of course, this earned him the profound admiration of the various warriors from the lower realm. With various thoughts in their minds, after leaving the Infinity God Temple, the group headed westward toward the giant cloud summit Heavenly Palace City for about half an hour when they finally saw a sea of clouds on the west side of the city. Upon seeing this sea of clouds, Yichun's eyes widened in shock. At a glance, one could see endless law force light churning within the sea of clouds, and even standing several miles away from the sea of clouds, Yichun could feel the numerous rotating pills in his chi sea inside his body becoming lively. Such a rich law force. Such a powerful true chi land. Yichun also noticed, within the churning law force light of the sea of clouds, countless red, green, golden, and even black and purple lightning bolts, as thick as several meters or even tens of meters, incessantly cleaving down from the sky. The entire sea of clouds was, quite simply, a terrifying sea of thunder. Yichun took further notice of a huge, incredible green bottle suspended upside down in the sky above the law thunder sea, its mouth pointed directly downwards. Streams of law force, like pouring seawater, were gushing down from this green bottle, converging into the law thunder sea below. Even the countless thunderbolts striking above the law thunder sea were spouting forth from this green bottle. This green bottle must be an extraordinary divine artifact. Could this be the green spirit bottle that the little provincial princess spoke of, the divine artifact used by Heavenly Cloud Venerable to hold endless primal law force? And this terrifying sea of thunder, could it be the law sea of Chenya platform that the little provincial princess mentioned for our cultivation? As Yichun pondered, he and the rest of the warriors, led by King Wu Kan, King Thundercloud, and Divine Venerable Hong Zhu, continued toward the Sea of Thunder ahead. Within the Law Thunder Sea, giant stone platforms resembling leaves began to rise from the sea. These leaf-like stone platforms numbered in the thousands. Chenya platform. Yi Chen instantly knew that these stone platforms must be the Chenya platform where they would be cultivating. Yi Chen then saw a stunning beauty in blue, with long hair trailing down to her ankles and bare feet, rising with the platform, appearing amidst the Law Cloud Sea. Chapter 502 - Mysterious Heavenly Divine Artifact. The woman is responsible for the second cultivation site and the second assessment contest, the Lan Shi God King. When the stunningly beautiful woman in blue appeared, God King Wuzan and God King Lei Yun, flying ahead, introduced her to Divine Venerable Hong Zhu beside them. In Minor Pole Sky Cultivation, each segment has a dedicated person in charge. God King Lei Yun is responsible for receiving all the warriors coming to Minor Pole Sky, while God King Wuzan is in charge of the first cultivation site and the first assessment contest. Now, this blue-dressed woman who suddenly appeared in the Cloud Sea of Laws was the person in charge of the second cultivation site. Hearing the words of God King Wuzan and God King Lei Yun, Divine Venerable Hong Zhu nodded with a light laugh. The long-haired, barefooted beauty Lan Shi in blue, whose hair fell to her ankles, noticed Divine Venerable Hong Zhu at the very front of the crowd the moment she appeared. As a renowned Divine Venerable under the East Territory King, and as the person in charge of the second challenge in the Minor Pole Sky Secret Cultivation Realm, Lan Shi God King of course recognized Divine Venerable Hong Zhu instantly. Whoosh! With a ripple in the void, Lan Shi God King appeared at the very front of the group, beside Divine Venerable Hong Zhu. Lan Shi pays respects to Divine Venerable Hong Zhu. Lan Shi God King also noticed the little provincial princess Fong Luo next to Yi Chen in the group, and with a startle, she knelt before the little provincial princess. "Are you the little provincial princess?" Seeing this beautiful woman kneel, the surrounding warriors quickly stepped aside. They certainly did not dare to accept the salutations meant for a princess who could receive the respects of a god king. Yi Chen too stepped back. Seeing the respectful demeanor of Lan Shi God King, the little provincial princess waved her small hand dismissively. "All right, there's no need for such formalities. Please pass along the news of my coming to train to the subsequent cultivation sites, so that I need not be greeted this way upon arriving at each site," the little provincial princess said with a giggle, then turned to Lan Shi God King. "Beautiful sister, are you in charge of the second cultivation site? Yi Chen has been eager to hear about how to cultivate there, so I'll need your help to tell us."
Yi Chen.
Upon hearing the name mentioned by the little provincial princess, Lan Shi God King was taken aback. She recognized the little provincial princess, but she had never heard of a Yi Chen. Was Yi Chen the descendant of a powerful family or a powerful being from the divine kingdom? When the little provincial princess spoke and glanced towards the young man who'd edged away beside her, Lan Shi God King was even more taken aback. "Is this young man Yi Chen? He looks as if he's from the lower realm. Why would the little provincial princess bring up his name?" Of course, Lan Shi God King kept her doubts to herself. After hearing what the little provincial princess said, Lan Shi God King quickly spoke up with a smile to the crowd. "Since the little provincial princess has asked about the second cultivation site, I won't waste any more time and will explain to everyone how to cultivate in this place." As she spoke, Lan Shi God King led the group to the edge of the Law Thunder Sea, pointing at the incredibly large green bottle floating above and said, "This green bottle at the very top is a mysterious heavenly divine artifact, used by the venerable founder of Minor Pole Sky, the Heavenly Cloud Venerable, and it's called the Green Spirit Bottle. Mysterious heavenly divine artifact." Hearing this term, numerous martial artists were taken aback. Even Yi Chen was somewhat surprised. From the little provincial princess, he had already learned the name of this green bottle as the Green Spirit Bottle. But the little provincial princess only mentioned that it was a divine artifact used by Heavenly Cloud Venerable in the past to contain countless fundamental law powers. It was the first time Yi Chen had heard of the appellation Mysterious Heavenly Divine Artifact among divine artifacts. Seeing the multitude of martial artists entirely puzzled, Only the little provincial princess and the 4 scions of the 4 great generals, namely Tian Li, Zhao Xian, and 2 others, seemed to be familiar with mysterious heavenly divine artifacts. Lan Shigod King explained, "Divine artifacts are of many types. Generally, the ones used by Void Sky True Gods are just ordinary divine artifacts, categorized into lower grade, middle grade, and upper grade divine artifacts. When it comes to the God King level, they use even more powerful divine artifacts. Typically, they utilize higher-level, heaven-reaching divine artifacts. At the divine venerable level, the divine artifacts they use are even more powerful. Some are even forged from countless stellar cores, possessing unimaginable great might. Such level of divine artifacts is known as mysterious heavenly divine artifacts. Void Sky True Gods mostly use ordinary divine artifacts. God Kings use higher-level heaven-reaching divine artifacts. And divine venerables can even use higher-level, mysterious heavenly divine artifacts, forged from countless stellar cores." The words of Lan Shigod King left the martial artists of the lower realm astounded. And even many youths from the divine kingdom were hearing about mysterious heavenly divine artifacts for the first time. They had never imagined that there were so many classifications of divine artifacts. Mysterious heavenly divine artifacts. Just the mention of being forged from countless stellar cores is enough to know how inconceivable they are. Yichen was also shocked. He hadn't expected that this green spirit bottle would have such an extraordinary origin. Seeing everyone's astonished expressions, Lan Shigod King smiled and continued, "This green spirit bottle, precisely because it is a mysterious heavenly divine artifact, possesses great might. In the past, Heavenly Cloud Venerable used it to collect the fundamental law power from countless subordinate celestial lands, all forged within this mysterious heavenly divine artifact. Finally, a law sea was forged within the mysterious heavenly divine artifact using countless fundamental law powers. That law sea is what you see in front of you, the cloud sea filled with lightning and law radiance." Lan Shigod King pointed to the incredibly vast green spirit bottle below, towards the cloud sea rolling with endless radiance of laws, towards the myriad hues of lightning, and spoke slowly. Lan Shigod King further stated, "This law sea, because it was specially forged by a mysterious heavenly divine artifact and has amalgamated countless celestial lands' different fundamental law powers, eventually transformed into the law pathway. Your second training location is specifically for cultivating true chi and laws. Regardless of whether you cultivate the 5 or the 8 heavenly void laws, or even more types of heavenly void laws, you can cultivate all of them within the law sea ahead. And the method of cultivation is to step onto the stone platform's Chenya platform within the law sea and withstand the bombardment of law spirit thunder. When the law spirit thunder strikes you, your chi sea will be attacked by the law spirit thunder. As long as you can continuously withstand the bombardment, you will integrate countless fundamental law powers into your chi sea, eventually aiding you in breaking through the bottleneck of laws and truly comprehending the law pathway. The second training site will last for 1 month. The first step is choosing the Chenya platform. The second step is to begin withstanding the strikes of law spirit thunder. Once you can no longer withstand the bombardment and fall from the Chenya platform into the law sea below, your cultivation will come to an end. If you can withstand the bombardment of law spirit thunder for an entire month, you will achieve the highest cultivation accomplishments at this site. It might even enable you to cultivate all your laws to great perfection, helping you break through from the rotating pill realm to the heavenly saint realm, moving from not having cultivated a particular heavenly void law to great perfection in the heavenly saint realm, to eventually reaching great perfection in all heavenly void laws. Chapter 503, Terrifying Law Spirit Thunder. When it came to the Lan Shigod King's words, everyone's eyes shone brightly. Find adventures at Novelbin.com. Their greatest purpose in coming to Minor Pole Sky was to enhance their strength. Here, they could directly improve their realm. It naturally made everyone look forward with great anticipation. At this moment, Yichen's heart was also pounding fiercely. The little provincial princess had already told him that it was very likely that he could advance from the mid-phase of rotating pill to the later phase here, or even higher. Now that the Lan Shigod King had reiterated this, It certainly let Yi Chun know that this incredible feat of directly enhancing the true Qi realm was not mere fancy talk, but could truly happen. However, Yi Chun had also noticed the emphasis placed by the Lan Shi God King. The Lan Shi God King said that only by withstanding the bombardment of Law Spirit Thunder for an entire month could one achieve the highest cultivation gains in this place and possibly receive the greatest increase in their realm. But looking at the terrifying Law Spirit Thunders, some as thick as dozens of meters, constantly striking down over the Law Sea in a storm that made the whole world seem like a world of thunder, Yi Chun hadn't even stepped into it and knew how incredibly difficult it would be to persist in cultivation there. If one couldn't withstand the Law Spirit Thunder's assault and fell from Chenya platform into the Law Sea below, it would mean the immediate end to this second phase of cultivation. If one didn't last a month, the gains in this place wouldn't be maximized, and it was very likely that they wouldn't amass enough law force to break through to a higher realm. With this in mind, Yi Chun took a deep breath, his eyes becoming resolute. No matter what, I must persist in this sea of Law Spirit Thunder until I can no longer withstand, to see just how great the gains can be. As Yi Chun's eyes grew determined, Fang Luo, the little provincial princess beside him, also showed steely resolve for the first time. Among the three major life signs of little Luo'er, it was the true Qi life sign that was the weakest. She needed to make up for this aspect of her cultivation. Now, finally arriving at the Chenya platform Law Sea, that she had long been interested in and even her father, the East Territory King, had praised immensely, she naturally cherished this opportunity to cultivate 100-fold. It wasn't just Yi Chun and the little provincial princess. Every martial artist who was about to participate in the second phase of cultivation became both nervous and solemn. They knew the amount of cultivation opportunity they could gain in the second phase depended on how long they could persist in this sea of Law Spirit Thunder. Seeing everyone prepared and eager to enter and begin cultivating, the Lan Shi God King, after consulting with the divine Venerable Hong Zhu, finally announced the start of the 1-month cultivation period for the second phase. Now, begin your true Qi cultivation. Start with the first step, the selection of Chenya platforms. You have seen the Chenya platforms are scattered throughout the Law Sea, numbering in the thousands. Yet the ones closer to the top mysterious heavenly divine artifact, Green Spirit Bottle, hold even more abundant law force. Cultivating there can lead to greater achievements. Of course, the Law Spirit Thunder there is also the most terrifying and formidable. You cannot resist this kind of Law Spirit Thunder with your flesh or divine soul techniques, but only with true Qi techniques can you withstand and assimilate this law force. Therefore, choosing a precious Chenya platform also means selecting one where you can withstand the bombardment of Law Spirit Thunder, which is something you need to consider. Now, according to your ranking from the previous first phase of the assessment, proceed to select your Chenya platforms in order. After the Lan Shi God King spoke, she nodded towards the God King Wutsan. With a smile, God King Wutsan pointed to the void, and the Extreme Heaven Spirit list that had appeared during the first phase of the assessment trials emerged once again. The Lan Shi God King also curiously looked toward the Extreme Heaven Spirit list, wanting to see the ranking order of the martial artists who were about to choose their Chenya platforms. When she saw the top few names on the Extreme Heaven Spirit list, first place, Yi Chun, second place, Fang Luo, third place, Tian Li, fourth place, Hu Lin, the Lan Shi God King was suddenly stunned. She knew the second-ranking Fang Luo was the little provincial princess. And even the ones behind Tian Li, Hu Lin, Zhao Xian, and others, she knew them as the 4 junior youths under the East Territory King's 4 generals. But this first place, Yi Chun from the lower-tier celestial spirit star. The Lan Shi God King was utterly astounded to see that Yi Chun had surpassed the little provincial princess and the 4 junior youths of the 4 generals. She could never have imagined that a youth from a lower-tier world could surpass the little provincial princess. The Lan Shi God King also recalled that Yi Chun was the name the little provincial princess had mentioned repeatedly earlier. While previously astonished about who had captured the little provincial princess's attention, she now knew the reason. This youth had surpassed everyone in the physical trial, claiming the first place. At that thought, the devastatingly beautiful God King Lan Shi, with her long hair falling to her ankles and bare feet draped in blue, gazed intently at Yi Chun, who stood beside the little provincial princess. She was very curious about how this Yi Chun had managed to take first place on the Extreme Heaven Spirit list. It seems it's time to inquire with God King Wutsan about the first phase of cultivation and the assessment, she mused. Previously, Lan Shi God King hadn't been too concerned with the details of the first phase of the assessment. She was strictly responsible for this second phase of cultivation and the examination. But now, she was so eager to know how a martial artist from a lower realm could surpass everyone, especially when the competition included the presence of the little provincial princess and the descendants of the 4 great generals, and still managed to secure first place. After Lan Shi God King finished speaking, her beautiful eyes surveyed Yi Chun, and divine Venerable Hong Zhu's voice also reached all the martial artists who were about to train. The second training opportunity is extremely rare, so you must grasp it well. Now, proceed to choose your Chenya platform according to the rankings, she said. Divine Venerable Hong Zhu specifically spoke for the sake of the little provincial princess. She smiled and said to Luo'er, "Your father has allowed you to choose the core Chenya platform for your training, so you mustn't fear the law spirit thunder there. You have to persevere." The little provincial princess looked toward the core area of Chenya platform, at the several platforms located beneath the mysterious heavenly divine artifact, the green spirit bottle, with some worry in her eyes. There, indeed, as Lan Shi God King had said, was the most precious training spot, directly underneath the endless law forces pouring into the law sea from the green spirit bottle. But the law spirit thunder there was also the most terrifying. Almost all the thick and fearsome lightning, dozens of feet in diameter, converged in that area. The little provincial princess took a deep breath and then looked at Yi Chun. "Brother Yi Chun, which Chenya platform will you choose?" Yi Chun glanced at the little lowly, who was only 12 years old and barely reached his shoulder, and smiled at her. "I will train in the most central area, since the little provincial princess is also going there. Then we can both persevere together and see who can withstand the law spirit thunder for a longer time." Yi Chun had already planned to choose the most central Chenya platform for his training. Even though it was extremely dangerous, the opportunity there was greatest, and he didn't want to pass it up. Seeing the little provincial princess's somewhat fearful look, and after hearing divine Venerable Hong Zhu's words, Yi Chun secretly encouraged her. Knowing that Yi Chun was also going to train in the most central area, the little lowly felt slightly relieved. She didn't want to be the only one choosing to train in the most fearsome place while others were too scared to go there. With Yi Chun accompanying her, and his proposal to see who could last longer under the law spirit thunder, the little provincial princess's competitive nature helped her to overcome her fear. "Brother Yi Chun, then let's have a competition. I hope we can both withstand the law spirit thunder for a whole month and gain the greatest harvest." Fong Luo's eyes even showed a spirit of eagerness to try. Boom! 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 After Lan Shi God King and God King Hong Zhu successively announced it was time to start training, and after Yi Chun and the little provincial princess had their conversation, the rumbling of spirit thunder above the law sea became even more thunderous. It was as if urging those martial artists about to enter for training to hasten into it. Then, after nodding to the little provincial princess and Fang Hua, Yi Chun was the first to step out. He was ranked first on the Extreme Heaven Spirit list, so of course he was to choose his Chenya platform first. Yi Chun's eyes looked toward the deepest part of the sea of law spirits ahead, at the huge leaf-shaped Chenya platform, dozens of feet in diameter, directly beneath the green spirit bottle. Then, Yi Chun took a deep breath, his eyes sparkling with a sharp light, and in an instant, he flew toward the vast law sea ahead. Rumble! Boom! Boom! As soon as Yi Chun entered the law sea, as if sensing someone had come in, the law spirit thunder slashing down from the skies above the sea became even more fearsome, nearly tearing the heavens apart. Like dazzling sword lights, the spirit thunder immediately targeted Yi Chun with a barrage of strikes. Before even reaching the Chenya platform, since he couldn't absorb the law force from these law spirit thunders, Yi Chun naturally would not waste time and energy confronting them. Amidst the bombardment of spirit thunder, the 405 apertures rotating pills he had cultivated during this time all violently shook, and his speed instantly soared to an unbelievable level. In a flash, He evaded countless slashes of Law Spirit thunder aimed at him and rocketed towards the innermost region of the Law Sea. In mere moments, Yi Chun had flown over a dozen miles amidst the bombardment of spirit thunder. Not a single thunderbolt hit him. Seeing Yi Chen's movement technique, Lan Shi God King, witnessing his capability for the first time, her beautiful eyes brightened. Such a powerful movement technique. This youngster is only in the middle stage of rotating pill, but his movement technique is even stronger than those in the late stage of Heavenly Saint. He truly deserves his first place on the Extreme Heaven Spirit list. Amidst Lan Shi God King's admiration, Yi Chen flew dozens of miles further, penetrating deep into the Law Sea's most central area. There, it was a world of Law Spirit thunder. There, the thunder rolling and slashing across heaven and earth was denser, thicker, and more terrifying than outside, tearing the void and raging to the extreme. The dozens of feet thick and horrifying spirit thunder were commonplace there. They even frequently interweaved and slashed together. Chapter 504, Crossing the Sea of Lightning. At this moment, Yi Chun could no longer completely avoid the spirit thunder with his movement technique. It was simply not possible. The dense barrage of spirit thunder could only be resisted with various means. Facing the terrifying purple spirit thunder, which tore through the void and slashed down furiously, thick as dozens of feet, Yi Chun looked up and his eyes shone brightly as he unleashed all 5 great divine arts. Instantly, the light of fire, gold, water, wood, and earth, the glow of the 5 great law divine skills, enveloped Yi Chen's entire body. The endless divine art power on Yi Chun surged to the skies, even stirring up hundreds of feet high. In the end, the sky-scorching, terrifying divine art power directly clashed against the horrifying spirit thunder that struck from the heavens and earth. Boom! 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 The entire core area echoed with the explosive sounds of colliding true chi. Amidst the explosive sounds, Yi Chun, with divine art power that continued to surge skyward without weakening in the slightest against the terrifying spirit thunder, kept rushing towards the Chenya platform he had set his sights on. As Yi Chun surged forward at extreme speed, even more law spirit thunder fell like a torrential downpour, bombarding him relentlessly. And at this time, Yi Chun even employed a swordsmanship divine art, the Great 5 Elements Sword Light, in addition to the 5 great divine arts. Sword light interwove with thunder light. It caused the depths of the Law Sea to surge with countless rays of light that cut through the void. Nearer and nearer. With all his techniques deployed, Yi Chun drew closer and closer to the Chenya platform that was directly below the green spirit bottle. Finally, with a long howl, bursting with true chi, he completely landed in the center of the Chenya platform that stretched dozens of feet in radius. Yi Chun has succeeded. Upon seeing Yi Chun traverse the vast sea of thunder and enter the most core area, all the martial artists exclaimed in shock. The Lan Shi God King, Wutsan God King, Lei Yun God King, and divine Venerable Hong Zhu's eyes sparkled even more brightly. From Yi Chen's straightforward move, these powerhouses had already seen an unbelievable true chi power and techniques on him. For a martial artist from a lower realm to possess such true chi power and skills at the mid-stage of rotating pill realm was astonishing even to the experienced powerhouses of the divine kingdoms. Especially Yi Chen's 5 great divine arts of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. They gave these powerhouses an inexplicable feeling. These formidable beings sensed that even if Yi Chun had not yet cultivated these 5 great divine arts to their limits, they were already inconceivably powerful. If he did master them completely, it was quite possible that Yi Chun could sweep away all the Heavenly Saint Realm powerhouses. Of course, this was incredibly shocking to them. Brother Yi Chun has succeeded. He really chose the most central Chenya platform. Seeing Yi Chun fly onto the Chenya platform right beneath the green spirit bottle, little provincial princess Fong Luo's eyes also lit up. Now it's my turn to choose. She promptly stood up. After nodding her little head to divine Venerable Hong Zhu and the 3 divine kings, she fixed her gaze on a Chenya platform right beside where Yi Chun was. Another massive stone platform directly below the green spirit bottle. Then, with a flicker of her body, little Fang Luo also shot into the Law Sea in an instant. Unlike Yi Chun, who resisted the Law Spirit Thunder with true Qi movement skills and techniques, little provincial princess had no intention of resisting, as it was not yet time to absorb the law force within the thunder while outside the Chinya platform. Ding! 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 The instant little provincial princess flew into the Law Sea, 3 small bronze bells flew out from her body. These 3 bells, only the size of a palm, immediately started orbiting around little provincial princess once they flew out. The bells jingled gently, emitting a hazy light that shrouded her entire being. Once the hazy light from the 3 bells enveloped little provincial princess, even the wildly raging Law Spirit Thunder in the Law Sea could not get within inches of her. Clearly, these 3 bells were incredibly top-tier treasures. If it weren't for the requirement to endure the strikes of Law Spirit Thunder for final cultivation, little provincial princess wouldn't need to fear the Law Spirit Thunder within the Law Sea at all with these 3 bells. Whoosh! 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 Under the protection of the 3 bells, little provincial princess was literally without any danger, instantly landing on the Chinya platform that was a little over 10 feet away from Yi Chun and to his immediate left. Yi Chun was seated in meditation on the Chinya platform, looking at the 3 bells fluttering around little provincial princess, and felt a slight shock in his heart. Having reached the Chinya platform himself, the first step of selecting the platform had ended. The second step of officially beginning cultivation under the bombardment of Law Force had not started yet, and the Law Spirit Thunder had stopped bombarding him. He was of course very aware of little provincial princess's approach. Yi Chun could clearly see the miraculous nature of these 3 bells. Seeing Yi Chun look over, the little provincial princess giggled, retracted the 3 bells, which landed on her fair, delicate palm, dimming their light. "Brother Yi Chun, I've come over too," the little provincial princess called out to Yi Chun. These 3 bells are a set of heaven-reaching divine artifacts, called the Shuni bells. They can withstand attacks from true Qi, and can also resist physical and divine soul attacks. Heaven-reaching divine artifact. It's something that divine king-level beings frequently use, a level above ordinary divine artifacts. Yi Chun couldn't help but feel moved. The little provincial princess, being the daughter of the East Territory King, could use heaven-reaching divine artifacts so casually. The ice snow jade pendant that he obtained from the sub-palace of the Icebound Temple was merely a high-grade divine artifact and didn't reach the level of heaven-reaching divine artifacts. Probably only by entering the main hall of the Icebound Temple and truly obtaining the legacy of the Ice Seal Divine King could he possibly obtain 1 or 2 heaven-reaching divine artifacts. However, Yi Chun didn't feel too envious of the little provincial princess. He had 2 treasures on him that the little provincial princess would probably be extremely envious of if she saw them. Discover hidden tales at novelbin.com. That is, the Primordial Star Scripture and the Star's Divine Tower containing the Primordial Star Scripture. Yi Chun had a premonition that the Primordial Star Scripture was a miraculous cultivation technique that absolutely surpassed the Divine Venerable level. As for the Star's Divine Tower, Yi Chun knew even more that within it surged countless starlights, as if housing an entire starry universe, undoubtedly stronger than the mysterious heavenly divine artifact Green Spirit Bottle, above his head and far surpassing ordinary divine artifacts and heaven-reaching divine artifacts. In contemplating the one who left behind the Primordial Star Scripture and the Starlight Tower, the ZG Star Lord, Yi Chun reckoned that his status was much higher than that of the East Territory King, and it was even very likely stronger than the ruler of the entire Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation. Possessing these 2 amazing objects, Yi Chun naturally did not envy the little provincial princess. What he needed to do was to make good use of these 2 treasures to strengthen himself and, at the same time, take advantage of other cultivation opportunities to grow stronger. One day in the future, Yi Chun wished to meet the East Territory King, the ruler of the Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation, and even the ZG Star Lord who left him the Primordial Star Scripture, to ask why he received such a treasure. After Yi Chun and the little provincial princess consecutively selected their Chinya platforms, all the other people followed suit according to their rankings, each choosing their Chinya platforms. After the little provincial princess, it was Tian Li's turn to choose. Tianli initially wanted to resist the pervasive law spirit thunder with his techniques just like Yi Chun, flying directly to one of the Chenya platforms beside the little provincial princess in the deepest area. But when he really used his techniques to confront the pervasive law spirit thunder, Tianli realized just how formidable these law spirit thunders were. Even after he penetrated into the deepest area, he was struck by 5 law spirit thunders, each dozens of meters thick, that sent him flying hundreds of meters away. If he hadn't quickly activated a magical treasure to defend against the law spirit thunders, he would have almost dropped into the law sea, getting eliminated before he even started cultivating. This incident scared Tianli into a cold sweat. It also surprised the countless martial artists watching him choose the Chenya platforms by the side of the law sea. At that moment, these martial artists and Tianli remembered that in the previous 3 signs of life tests, Yi Chun was far ahead of everyone in True Chi Life Vital Sign, very close to the heavenly saint realm of great perfection. Just because Yi Chun could withstand the law spirit thunder and fly straight in didn't mean that others could withstand it. In the end, Tianli finally reached the Chenya platform beside the little provincial princess by relying on a treasure. This situation left Tianli, who had wanted to show off in front of the little provincial princess, with a somewhat flushed face. Whoosh! 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 After Tianli made his selection, all the others consecutively chose their Chenya platforms. From those thousands of martial artists stepping into the law sea, did they realize the horror of the law spirit thunder that struck down from the sky and how miraculous it was for Yi Chun to penetrate to the core area without any treasures. Boom! One late-stage heavenly saint martial artist also tried to fly deeper to get closer to the green spirit bottle and choose a more precious Chenya platform. However, 3 terrifying law spirit thunders instantly shattered his protective true chi, and even one of his defensive treasures was directly destroyed. In a hurry, the late-stage heavenly saint martial artist landed on a nearby Chenya platform, narrowly escaping the crisis. Even after settling down, his face was pale with fright. Rumble, another mid-stage heavenly saint martial artist, in his determination to choose a more valuable Chenya platform, was instantly struck by 5 huge bolts of law spirit thunder, each dozens of meters thick, and was directly blasted 1,000 meters away, spitting out a mouthful of blood. He ended up falling into the law sea, and the moment he fell into the law sea, a burst of light swept him up and returned him to the edge of the law sea, next to the other martial artists. The Lanchi God King, who presided over the second cultivation site, then declared, "Falling into the law sea means the end of this second cultivation opportunity. Stay on the shore, and after everyone else's cultivation is over, you can participate in the second assessment to see if you can get the next cultivation opportunity." Before the second cultivation session even began, the chance to cultivate was directly lost. Seeing this, those who were picking their Chenya platforms later all showed shocked expressions and ended up picking platforms they could bear, slightly further away from the green spirit bottle. Picking precious Chenya platforms was important, but not losing the opportunity to cultivate was even more crucial. Eventually, apart from 3 martial artists who fell into the law sea during the process of choosing their Chenya platforms, and thus lost their cultivation opportunity, all the remaining martial artists selected their respective Chenya platforms. And at this point, the Lanchi God King finally announced that the second step of true Chi cultivation in the Chenya platforms was officially starting. Chapter 505-. The Great Impact. The Great Transformation. Countless law forces streamed down from the green spirit bottle, a mysterious heavenly divine artifact suspended high in the void, flowing into the law sea below. The law sea glimmered with the radiance of laws, and the law pathway's water waves flowed. Over 5,000 martial artists, scattered around the numerous Chenya platforms floating above the law sea with the green spirit bottle at their center. And there, at the very heart of these Chenya platforms, were Yi Chun, the little provincial princess, Tianli, and others. The moment Lanchi God King declared that the true Chi cultivation on Chenya platform had officially begun, the law spirit thunder that had not yet struck the Chenya platforms surged violently forth, slashing towards everyone once more. This time, it was not the same as the earlier law spirit thunder during the selection and cultivation on Chenya platform. Previously, during the crossing of the Thunder Sea, The slashing of the Law Spirit Thunder was merely a test for their selection of the Chinya platforms, and did not enable these martial artists to cultivate true Qi. But now, as they truly entered the second step of cultivation, the Law Spirit Thunder that struck them, emerging not just from the green spirit bottle, but also nurtured within the endless law pathway waves of the Law Sea, rising into the void. These Law Spirit Thunders contained endless true Qi power and law forces. As long as you could withstand the impact of a single Law Spirit Thunder, numerous fundamental law powers from within the Law Spirit Thunder could be absorbed into the Qi Sea to aid in cultivating true Qi, the laws, and breaking through realms. Upon hearing Lanchi God King's voice declaring the beginning of cultivation and seeing the endless rolling Law Spirit Thunder, a gleam sparked in Yi Chen's eyes as he stared directly at the Law Spirit Thunder slashing towards him. These Law Spirit Thunders are not just tests but opportunities, he thought. As long as I can withstand their onslaught, my true Qi combat power will keep soaring. With that in mind, let them come. Yi Chen instantly rose from his seated position, boldly facing the barrage of Law Spirit Thunder. At the same time, he swept his sleeve, and various treasures appeared on the Chinya platform in front of him. Among these treasures were the virtual gold Holy Spirit fruit, and other 5 elemental treasures that Yi Chen had obtained from a major auction, which were beneficial to the cultivation of the 5 great divine arts. There were also the Void Sky Quintessence fruit, which greatly aided in harmonizing the 5 great law forces obtained from the 5 Elements Mountain, and the Primordial Extreme Spiritual Fluid, for restoring true Qi, and other treasures he had found in the Divine Heritage Cave. Preparing to begin true Qi cultivation, Yi Chen laid out these treasures in advance. As Yi Chen readied himself to withstand the onslaught of Law Spirit Thunder and begin cultivating true Qi techniques, a massive Saiyan thunderbolt, like an immense python, burst out directly above him from the green spirit bottle. It then transformed into a terrifyingly large serpent that struck down swiftly towards the top of Yi Chen's head. This Saiyan thunderbolt, over 20 meters thick, was like a thunderstorm sweeping ferociously towards him. Seeing this Saiyan thunderbolt, Yi Chen was not panicked but rather pleased. During the previous crossing of the Thunder Sea, he had faced even more terrifying Law Spirit Thunder. This thunderbolt, he feared not. Yi Chen was eager to see what kind of law forces this thunderbolt would bestow upon him. Boom! 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 In an instant, the thunderbolt struck Yi Chen. He did not use the 5 great divine arts to shatter it but let it touch his body at the very moment, causing the 405 5 apertures rotating pills within his Qi Sea to tremble, their divine pill law patterns all flashing. Yi Chen intended to endure the thunderbolt's power with his body. As the Saiyan thunderbolt thundered into Yi Chen's body, he felt a surging force nearly bursting his Qi Sea, swiftly merging into it. Within the Saiyan thunderbolt was an unbelievable amount of wood element law pathway and wood element true Qi. Others would dare not directly absorb the power of the Spirit Thunder, but Yi Chen cultivated the Taiyuan chapter, the 3rd chapter of the Primordial Star Scripture, and he needed to cultivate as many as 999 Taiyuan divine pills before fusing them into one. Yi Chen's Qi Sea, whether in terms of the number of rotating pills or their quality, far surpassed countless others, even exceeding numerous heavenly saints. He had enough confidence to withstand the thunderbolt strike. As the Saiyan thunderbolt's incredible wood element true Qi and wood element law pathway entered Yi Chen's Qi Sea, the 405 5 apertures rotating pills within absorbed these forces. At the same time, new 5 apertures rotating pills materialized amidst the spreading starry fog within his Qi Sea, and the disturbance of the Law Spirit Thunder's true Qi, popping into existence with pop, pop, pop. 406. 407. This single thunderbolt increased the number of rotating pills within Yi Chen's body to a total of 413. Although most of these rotating pills were condensed with the help of the pre-existing starry fog within the Qi Sea, for otherwise it would be impossible to form perfect 5 apertures rotating pills. But their rapid formation was greatly aided by this thunderbolt's Law Spirit Thunder. Before Yi Chen could even rejoice, more thunderbolts, one after another, continued to slash down towards him. These thunderbolts varied in type. There were fire-red ones resembling flames of the fire element Law Thunder, and even gold-shimmering golden thunderbolts, While enduring these thunderbolt strikes, Yi-chan inhaled deeply, drawing several void sky quintessence fruits into his chi-si to start harmonizing the 5 major virtual heavenly law forces surging into him. When faced with a more terrifying thunderbolt strike that he simply could not assimilate, Yi-chan no longer resisted with his body but used the increasingly powerful 5 great divine arts techniques to shatter these law spirit thunders and to absorb the manageable forces. Yi-chan truly entered the state of true chi cultivation within this law sea. While Yi-chan was cultivating, the little Lolita princess seated next to him also entered into a state of cultivation. The little provincial princess, only 12 years old and yet to reach maturity, was merely at the early stage of the rotating pill realm. But as she entered cultivation, she became incredibly serious, watching the law spirit thunder slashing down towards her from the sky with her little face. Like Yi-chan, she also activated countless treasure refining items. The little provincial princess came from the East Province, the youngest daughter of the East Territory King and his most cherished child. Her specific trip to the minor pole sky for cultivation was to better compensate for the weakness in her true chi, a sign of life. Naturally, the East Territory King prepared countless treasures for her. Any one of these treasures, if taken to a lower realm, would be enough to incite frantic looting from countless people. Yet, in front of the little provincial princess, she used them as if they were common items. In addition to the treasure refining items, the little provincial princess also produced many treasures capable of withstanding the bombardment of law spirit thunder. Apart from the heaven-reaching divine artifact, Shuni Bell, the little provincial princess also used other magical treasures to disperse and absorb the power of the spirit thunder. With the assistance of the magical treasures and use of the treasure refining items, the little provincial princess also entered a state of cultivation. Unlike Yi-chan, who cultivated the 5 great heavenly void laws, the little provincial princess cultivated a method of true chi law different from the 33 continents, one of the 9 great heavenly void laws. Among these, there were even the ice element heavenly void law and the thunder and lightning heavenly void law. The law spirit thunder, which cleaved towards the little provincial princess, also included ice element law thunder and lightning law thunder. The Sea of Laws was indeed a marvelous law pathway, created by Lord Yoon, who used the mysterious heavenly divine artifact, Green Spirit Bottle, to collect the fundamental law power of countless continents within the starry fog. It could even generate different kinds of law spirit thunder to strike the cultivating martial artists, depending on their unique cultivation in heavenly void laws. Truly a divine marvel. Not only Yi-chan and the little provincial princess, but all the more than 5,000 martial artists on the thousands of Chenya platforms entered the state of true chi cultivation. Naturally, many of these people couldn't cultivate as effortlessly as Yi-chan and the little provincial princess. In their struggle against law spirit thunder, they suffered immensely. Yet when they sensed the law force entering their bodies, they were also immensely overjoyed. In the midst of suffering and joy, they were also enhancing their strength. Of course, there were martial artists who, from the start, couldn't withstand the sudden and immense force of the law spirit thunder. After several attacks, they were directly blasted off the Chenya platform into the Sea of Laws. In the end, they were swept back to the edge of the Sea of Laws, ending their opportunity to cultivate, eliminated from the proceedings. Discover hidden content at novelbin.com. At the edge of the Sea of Laws, as day by day of cultivation went by, the number of eliminated martial artists increased. Following elimination, these martial artists could only stand beside figures like Divine Venerable Hong Zhu, Lan Shi God King Wutsan, and God King Lei Yun to watch others cultivate. Meanwhile, the gazes of shoreside powerhouses like Divine Venerable Hong Zhu, Lan Shi God King, and others were almost entirely fixed on the little provincial princess, and also on Yi-chan. Only occasionally would their divine eye shift to look at the 4 juniors of the 4 great generals. As for those young people from the divine kingdoms and the martial artists from the lower realms, the number of times they managed to catch the attention of these strong individuals was countable on one's fingers. 1 month of Chenya platform cultivation in the Sea of Laws. Time continued to pass. When 10 days of cultivation time had passed, more than 5,000 martial artists who entered the Sea of Laws were reduced to over 3,000. When over 20 days had passed, only more than 1,000 remained. And by the time the last 7 days arrived, within the Sea of Laws, only about a dozen people were still cultivating on the Chenya platform. Among these dozen, aside from Yi Chun, all the martial artists from the lower realm had been eliminated. Even Feng Hua, whom Yi Chun knew well, couldn't withstand the bombardment of the Law Spirit Thunder on the 18th day and was eliminated. The remaining dozen included only Yi Chun, the little provincial princess, the 4 juniors of the 4 great generals Tian Li, Zhao Xian, Meng Qi, Hu Lin, and a few young people from the divine kingdoms, still persevering. At the edge of the Sea of Laws, Feng Hua gazed at Yi Chun, who was still cultivating on the Chenya platform in the deepest part, and felt emotional. I only cultivated for 18 days, and I've gained so much that even the 3 laws that were always my weakness have greatly improved. My realm's bottleneck has started to loosen, and there are even signs of a breakthrough. The deeper into the cultivation of the Sea of Laws, the greater the gains. Yi Chun has been cultivating on the core, most precious Chenya platform for so long. His gains must be tens or even hundreds of times greater than mine. Under such circumstances, he hasn't yet made a breakthrough to the latter stage of the rotating pill? How can a single minor realm increase accommodate so much power? Feng Hua was shocked. The well-informed him knew that Yi Chun must be cultivating a tremendously powerful and incomprehensible cultivation technique. While Feng Hua was shocked, his guess was very accurate. Yi Chun had now truly entered a major breakthrough and transformative process. Although it seemed Yi Chun was trying to break through from the intermediate to the latter stage of the rotating pill, he was also cultivating the 3rd chapter of the primordial star scripture, the Taiyuan chapter. Just to cultivate a Taiyuan divine pill, he had to first cultivate a total of 999 5 apertures rotating pills. And now, after 23 days of cultivation, the number of 5 apertures rotating pills in Yi Chun's qi had astonishingly reached 998. Chapter 506, the final step. During these 23 days of cultivation, Yi Chun had absorbed the power of countless law spirit thunders, greatly increasing not only the quantity of his true qi but also his mastery over true qi laws. His cultivation of the Taiyuan divine pill was only 1 pill away from reaching the level of extreme realm dispersion for 999 rotating pills, as required by the 3rd chapter of the primordial star scripture, the Taiyuan chapter. At that time, as long as he combined these 999 rotating pills into one, he would be able to transform the extreme realm dispersion rotating pills into an extreme realm fusion, resulting in the unique Taiyuan divine pill. If so, Yi Chun would be able to thoroughly complete the internal skill cultivation requirements of the Taiyuan chapter of the Taiyuan divine pill. Just then, a blue law spirit thunder, 8 zhang thick, hurtled directly towards Yi Chun. Explore new worlds at Novelbin. Calm. Yi Chun knew that this law spirit thunder would help him to completely finish the cultivation of the 999 rotating pills. Bring it on. Above the Chenya platform, Yi Chun's eyes fixed on the blue law spirit thunder. His entire body even burst forth from the platform, directly meeting the law spirit thunder. Boom! 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 In an instant, the law force of the spirit thunder struck Yi Chun, penetrating into his qi. In that moment, Yi Chun was suspended in the void. Even the myriad law spirit thunders unconsciously avoided Yi Chun, who was in the void. Clearly, Yi Chun was in an extraordinarily remarkable state at this time. Looking inward at Yi Chun's body, it was even more apparent that under the infusion of this new law spirit thunder force, the starry fog within Yi Chun's qi once again attracted a large amount of the spirit thunder's law force, eventually beginning to congeal into a rotating pill. After several breaths, beside the 998 rotating 5 apertures pills floating in Yi Chun's qi, the 999th rotating 5 apertures pill took its complete form. Having prepared the 999 extreme realm dispersion rotating pills required for the Taiyuan divine pill, Yi Chun immediately began to follow the cultivation method of the Taiyuan chapter, to fuse these dispersed rotating pills into one, launching an assault towards the unique Taiyuan divine pill. While Yi Chun operated the primordial star scripture's Taiyuan chapter cultivation method, all of the law spirit thunders in the sky retreated from his vicinity. This scene, observed from the edge of the law sea by the 4 major powerhouses who had been keeping an eye on Yi Chun, took them by surprise. Divine Venerable Hong Zhu, Lan Shi God King Wutsan, and God King Lei Yun all felt a shock in their hearts. Being divine venerables and God Kings, their insights were naturally exceptional. At this time, they could clearly see that Yi Chun was cultivating an unusual true qi technique. Indeed, a youth who could reach such a height must have extraordinary fortune, they thought. The four powerhouses had already speculated that Yi Chen's ascent from the lower realm and his significant strength must be due to some fortuitous opportunity. As beings at the level of God King Venerables, they too had encountered innumerable opportunities in the past, otherwise they would never have reached their current status. They recognized that Yi Chun also possessed his own fortunes. This kind of fortune was likely related to the cultivation of the rotating pill realm and the mastery of true qi laws. He might very well be on the verge of breaking through to the later stages of the rotating pill realm. Divine Venerable Hong Zhu sighed. Luor successfully stepped from the early to the middle stage of the rotating pill realm 3 days ago. Now Yi Chun is also about to attempt a realm breakthrough. In these 20-plus days, many martial artists had successfully broken through their realms with the infusion of the Law Spirit Thunder's power. Now, seeing the surge of true qi around Yi Chun's body, these few powerhouses knew that Yi Chun was also on the verge of a true qi realm breakthrough. What these powerhouses were unaware of was that beneath the starry fog within Yi Chun's body, a place even they could not observe, there lay 999 5-apertures rotating pills. At this time, Yi Chun was not only on the cusp of a breakthrough in the true qi realm, but a greater achievement was in the offing, his breakthrough in the cultivation method of the primordial star scripture. Boom! 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 Under the watchful eyes of countless onlookers, Yi Chun, who was suspended in the void, reached into the void with his hands, and unimaginable true qi power from within his qi sea began to surge throughout his body. In the midst of the surging true qi, the 999 rotating 5-apertures pills in Yi Chen's qi sea boiled even more intensely. They began to pulsate wildly. This was the manifestation of the pills being driven by the Taiyuan chapter cultivation mantra. And at the next moment, as the cultivation mantra of the Taiyuan chapter flashed through Yi Chen's mind, the 999 rotating pills floating in his qi sea started to collide frenetically. Bang! 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 With each collision, 1 5-apertures rotating pill disappeared, merging 2 pills into one. The merged pill immediately not only bore the original 5 apertures and 5 divine pill law patterns but also began to sparkle with twinkling starlight. After all 999 5-apertures rotating pills had collided once, all of the pills merged upon impact and finally they merged into a single pill. This pill was still a 5-apertures rotating pill. However, unlike other martial artists' 5-apertures rotating pills, Yi Chen's pill was covered with countless sparkles of starlight. This is not an ordinary 5-apertures rotating pill, but the Taiyuan divine pill that Yi Chun had cultivated by practicing the primordial star scripture, Taiyuan chapter. Within the starlight that covered the Taiyuan divine pill, Yi Chun even felt the presence of a vast and incomparable cave heaven. However, at this moment, Yi Chun simply could not enter the interior of this starlight. Even though he couldn't enter, just by gazing at the starlight, Yi Chun sensed that the power of this unified Taiyuan divine pill was absolutely far greater than the sum of the scattered 999 5-apertures rotating pills from before. Yi Chun felt that, just based on the power of the true qi rotating pill alone, he could absolutely sweep away any existence at the heavenly saint level. While Yi Chun had not yet had the chance to carefully observe this newly formed Taiyuan divine pill, another breakthrough, triggered by the Taiyuan divine pill, also suddenly arrived. This breakthrough was a breakthrough in the true qi realm. Over these 20 or so days, Yi Chun had absorbed countless law pathways, which had already demonstrated the levels of the 5 great heavenly void laws numerous times in his mind. And now, it was time for these law levels to break through to the late rotating pill stage. Boom! 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 The moment the Taiyuan divine pill formed inside Yi Chun, the surging true qi inside and outside his body suddenly reversed into the qi si Taiyuan divine pill, and at the same time, the law spirit thunder in the void heaven that originally avoided Yi Chun was once again drawn back towards Yi Chun with lightning strikes. This time, the lightning strikes were those associated with a leap in realm. As if 20 or more law spirit thunders struck together, Yichun, surrounded by a circle of law spirit thunder, saw the 5 great divine patterns on the Taiyuan divine pill in his Qi gold element divine pattern, wood element divine pattern, water element divine pattern, fire element divine pattern, and earth element divine pattern all flash. Finally, these divine patterns absorbed all 20 or so law spirit thunders onto the Taiyuan divine pill. This time, Yichun's Taiyuan divine pill did not expand but rather shrank down to the size of a walnut, and because it had shrunk, the power inside became even more concentrated and powerful. It even caused the 5 great divine patterns on the Taiyuan divine pill to flash 9 times in rapid succession. Law infusion. Rotating pill 9 flashes. This undoubtedly signified that Yichun had simultaneously brought all 5 of the great heavenly void laws to the great accomplishment level, thoroughly cultivating his true Qi realm to the late stage of the rotating pill. Late stage rotating pill. From now on, Yichun was a strong performer in the late stage rotating pill. As he officially stepped into this level, Yichun suddenly opened his eyes while in the void, emerging from his meditative state. In his eyes flickered the light of the 5 heavenly void laws. Yichun murmured to himself, "Late stage rotating pill, and now to rush towards the heavenly saint. When I bring all 5 great heavenly void laws to perfection, that's when I will step into the heavenly saint realm." Yichun felt that although he had now broken through to the late-stage rotating pill, the 5 great heavenly void law pathways that entered his body already placed him on the cusp of stepping into the heavenly saint realm at any moment. He had absorbed countless law pathways, which had already brought him incredibly close to reaching the level of great perfection. The only reason he had not completely broken through to heavenly saint, Yichun knew, was due to the cultivation of Primordial Star Scripture Taiyuan chapter. The Taiyuan chapter is divided into 2 major parts of cultivation. One is the internal skills cultivation of Taiyuan divine pill, and the other is the external skills cultivation of 5 great divine arts. Right now, my internal skills Taiyuan divine pill have been fully cultivated, but the 5 great divine arts have not yet been cultivated to the highest level of 10-fold combat power. Once I also cultivate the 5 great divine arts to the strongest 10-fold combat power, with both internal and external skills cultivation complete, I can make a push towards the 4th chapter of the Primordial Star Scripture. At that point, when I hit the bottleneck of reaching the heavenly saint realm, I'm likely to be able to break through smoothly. The more Yichun practiced the Primordial Star Scripture, the deeper his understanding of this divine art became. Yichun discovered that this divine art was closely related to his realm cultivation. Hence he had already sensed the timing for his breakthrough into the heavenly saint realm. That would undoubtedly be when he stepped into the 4th chapter of the Primordial Star Scripture. Thinking of this, Yichun couldn't help but become excited. The 4th chapter. The ZG Star Lord had once said that by cultivating to this chapter, one could dominate an entire continent. Now Yichun knew that this definitely meant that, after cultivating this chapter, he would possess the power of a true god level. Yichun, of course, wanted to see what the methods of cultivation for the 4th chapter were. Of course, he wanted to bring his own power to the level of a true god. With the aid of True God Talisman, he had sensed the power of the true god level, but that, after all, was external. Only his own methods are the most precious. And now, he was just one step away from that level. Chapter 507- The Great Changes in the Barbarian Wilderness. The final step. Once I have cultivated the external skills of the 5 great divine arts to their peak power, I can directly enter the 4th volume of the Primordial Star Scripture and advance into the heavenly saint realm. Yichun felt the power of the 5 great divine arts within his body. The 5 great divine arts were the Gold Element Divine Art, Golden Light Divine Slash, the Wood Element Divine Art, Wood Emperor Stacking Skill, the Water Element Divine Art, Heavenly Origin Divine Water, the Fire Element Divine Art, Heaven Devouring True Fire, and the Earth Element Divine Art, Earth Returning to Origin Art. The power of these 5 great divine arts was related to the cultivation of the Taiyuan divine pill with internal skills. In recent days, Yichun made a great breakthrough with the Taiyuan divine pill in the Law Sea of his cultivation site, not only cultivating from 405 5 apertures rotating pills to 999, but also successfully uniting all these rotating pills into the Taiyuan Divine Pill. The Taiyuan Divine Pill's aid to the 5 great divine arts had almost reached its limit. Moreover, the power of the 5 great divine arts was also related to the comprehension of laws, and the deeper the comprehension, the stronger the 5 great divine arts became. During this time, Yi Chun absorbed no less than 1,000 strands of law spirit thunder, under the harmony of the void sky quintessence fruit. His comprehension of the laws had almost reached the level of great perfection, similarly enhancing the power of the 5 great divine arts immensely. Another way to increase the power of the 5 great divine arts was to devour and refine the 5 great secret treasures associated with the elements of gold, wood, water, fire, and earth, of which Yi Chun had absorbed a considerable amount. Now, with various factors combined, Yi Chun's 5 great divine arts were no longer what they once were. At this moment, the power of Yi Chun's 5 great divine arts had reached 90% of their potential, and with just these 5 great divine arts, Yi Chun could absolutely annihilate any being in the late stage of the heavenly saint realm. However, he was still one step away from the perfect level of 10%. He was just missing that last bit of opportunity. 7 more days. Continue to absorb law spirit thunder. Yi Chun looked towards the vast expanse of law spirit thunder in the void. Although he felt that the law spirit thunder had helped him as much as it could to take the final step, his opportunity might not lie within the law sea of the Chenya platform. Nevertheless, Yi Chun would certainly not miss this final phase of cultivation. In the last 7 days, with even stronger true Qi techniques, Yi Chun continued to absorb law spirit thunder, familiarizing himself with his newly enhanced true Qi techniques while resisting the law spirit thunder. Days passed by, one after the other. In these final 7 days, each day was a new test for everyone who remained. Because the closer to the end, the more terrifying and formidable the law spirit thunder between heaven and earth became. Even the law spirit thunder that emerged from the law sea and the mysterious heavenly divine artifact, green spirit bottle, became increasingly dense. In the midst of the intensifying challenges, the remaining few were eliminated one after another. By the last 3 days in the entire law sea, only Yi Chun, the little provincial princess, Tian Li, Meng Qi, Zhao Xian, and Hu Lin remained. These 6, except for Yi Chun, were all descendants of great power holders. Seeing Yi Chun persist in cultivating within the law sea alongside these 6 made all the martial artists from the lower realm and the youth from the divine kingdoms who had been eliminated admire Yi Chun once again. By the last day, even Tian Li, Zhao Xian, Meng Qi, and Hu Lin could only rely on treasures to withstand the law spirit thunder. Had they not insisted on accompanying the little provincial princess until the end of the cultivation, they would have been ready to give up the law sea, because they, too, had reached their greatest gains in the law sea. Originally at the later stages of the rotating pill realm, all of them had reached the edge of the heavenly saint realm due to the absorption of the laws. They were suppressing their breakthrough, planning to return to their elders before advancing to the heavenly saint realm. Because under those circumstances, with their elders' help, all 4 divine venerables, the great generals, their gains would be even greater. The only ones continuing the real cultivation were Yi Chun and the little provincial princess. Yi Chun, too, had reached the limit of his gains this time. He continued to cultivate, trying to find the last step to enhance the power of the 5 great divine arts. Meanwhile, the little provincial princess was genuinely in the midst of cultivation. She had already broken through from the initial to the middle stage of the rotating pill realm, having assimilated innumerable amounts of law forces and pathways. She was always waiting for an opportunity to evolve from the middle to the later stage of the rotating pill realm. In the final day, with not much time left, the little provincial princess, who had already grasped the 9 great void heaven laws such as ice, lightning, electricity, and fire to near great perfection, finally began her assault on the later stage of the rotating pill realm. In the end, she also successfully broke through to the later stage. 1 month's time, breaking through from the initial to the later stage of the rotating pill realm, was simply inconceivable. However, in this second place for true Qi cultivation in the minor pole sky, the law sea of Chenya platform, With the assistance of countless treasures and under the extensive preparations made by the East Province King for the little provincial princess, she achieved this, because she was the East Province King's little daughter. Her father was a being even more powerful than the divine venerables. When the 1-month period came to an end, the 6 who persisted in the Law Sea, including Yi Chun and the little provincial princess, were all teleported back to the shore of the Law Sea. Brother Yi Chun, you really did cultivate to the later stage of the rotating pill. As soon as she reached the shore, the little provincial princess Fang Luo looked towards Yi Chun. During cultivation, she had observed Yi Chun, who wasn't far from her. It was Yi Chen's determined gaze, in the face of countless law spirit thunder, that kept the very young little provincial princess from giving up whenever she nearly did so. Therefore, in her heart, the little provincial princess was truly grateful to Yi Chun. Yi Chun too sensed the little provincial princess's aura, and when he saw that she had progressed from the initial to the later stage of the rotating pill realm, he was genuinely astounded. The little provincial princess was still a 12-year-old little girl. He had actually cultivated up to the late stage of rotating pill. Placed in the lower realm, this would be considered an inconceivable feat. While Yi Chun and the little provincial princess were conversing, Lan Shi God King also smiled and addressed everyone. All right, the opportunity for cultivation at the second location, regardless of how many days you've trained or how great your gains, has also come to an end. Now, you must begin preparations to enter the examination and competition of the second location. Only by passing the examination and competition of the second location will you have a new chance to advance to the third cultivation site to cultivate your divine soul techniques. The first site was for cultivating physical skills, the second site, true chi techniques, and the third site would be related to divine soul techniques pertaining to the 3 main signs of life. Upon hearing Lan Shi God King's announcement of the second location's examination and competition, everyone turned their gaze to the extreme heaven spirit list suspended in the void, particularly at the names at the top. Yi Chun in first place and the little provincial princess in second. Everyone knew that the chance to change the rankings on the extreme heaven spirit list had arrived once more. Just as Yi Chun made his way through the first cultivation site and the first examination, and after a month of training in the second cultivation site, far within the minor spirit realm's lower realm on the 33rd continent, in the barbaric wilderness continent, at the same time Yi Chun entered the second cultivation site, the 5 tribulations true god of the flying spirit clan, Qi Shao true god, had officially commenced the unification of the entire chaotic sea area using the power of the Sea God Palace, making preparations for the invasion of the 13 countries of the Southern Territory. A month had passed, and the situation in the entire chaotic sea area had drastically changed. Tens of thousands of miles of the chaotic sea, countless sea areas, countless forces, under the overwhelming control and absorption of the Sea God Palace. A large portion had already been unified under its banner. The complete unification of the entire chaotic sea area seemed to be merely a matter of time, and not much time would be needed at that. The changes occurring within the chaotic sea area had already drawn the attention of the 13 countries of the Southern Territory, located closest to the sea. The chaotic sea was known to be a place where heavenly saint-level experts of the late stage existed, its overall power far surpassing that of the 13 countries of the Southern Territory. The strongest among the countries of the Southern Territory was merely Heavenly Saint Long Xian at the mid-stage. At this moment, Heavenly Saint Long Xian was convening a meeting with many powerful figures from the Southern Territory nations, with Jia Luo, Zhang Yao's master from Taishan sect, also among them. Heavenly Saint Long Xian worriedly addressed the assembly. The chaotic sea has always been a place of fragmented powers and utter chaos. This time, the sudden move by the Sea God Palace to unify the chaotic sea makes one wonder what their intentions are. Once the chaotic sea is unified, a powerful force will arise in the barbaric wilderness continent. The unified chaotic sea might even rival the power of the 3 major dynasties in the central region. At that time, the Sea God Palace, leading the unification, could well contend with the barbaric wilderness continent's strongest power, the heavenly sacred palace. In such a situation, we in the Southern Territory lie closest to the chaotic sea. Should the sea desire to conquer us, we might not even have the strength to resist. Heavenly Saint Long Xian's worries ran deep. The strong figures from the Southern Territory's 13 nations were equally fraught with concern. Even though the chaotic sea was still in the process of unification, and there had been no signs of them invading the Southern Territory, the prospect of such a formidable power emerging naturally caused extreme unease among the martial artists of the Southern Territory's 13 nations. In the assembly, Fairy Jialuo was also filled with worry. If the chaotic sea set its sights on the Southern Territory and decided to invade, her sect, Taishan, would be in grave danger. And what of Yichun and Zhang Yao? Although Fairy Jialuo was aware that both Zhang Yao and Yichun had gone to the heavenly sacred palace, Yichun's hometown lay within Heavenly Wind Kingdom, one of the 13 nations of the Southern Territory. Should the Southern Territory be invaded, Yichun's parents could be in mortal peril. Fairy Jialuo thought to herself, "It appears I must make arrangements to have Yichun's parents taken to the heavenly sacred palace as a precaution." While Fairy Jialuo was increasingly troubled by the upheavals in the chaotic sea area and their potential impact on the political stability of the Southern Territory, within the heavenly sacred palace, a group of individuals had also taken note of the situation in the chaotic sea area. This group included Zhang Yao, True Phoenix, Mulan True God, Palace Master Yuan Li, and others. When Zhang Yao had quietly followed True Phoenix and Mulan True God to the Five Elements Mountain without finding any trace of Yichun, her concern for him had grown. Upon her return to the heavenly sacred palace, when Zhang Yao heard from Palace Master Yuan Li of the drastic changes in the chaotic sea area and the potential threats to the 13 nations of the Southern Territory that lay close to the sea, she grew exceptionally worried. This won't do. Yichun is still not back, and his father and mother are still in Heavenly Wind Kingdom. My master is also in the Southern Territory. Should the chaotic sea situation affect the Southern Territory, they would all be in danger. True Phoenix, Mulan, what exactly is happening in the chaotic sea? Why would the Sea God Palace suddenly aim to unify it? Aunties, let's go to Heavenly Wind Kingdom. Only there can we protect my master and Yichun's parents and respond timely to the Southern Territory's changing situation. Hearing Zhang Yao's words, True Phoenix and Mulan True God looked at each other and nodded in agreement. They were of the True God realm, but due to their origin from the Divine Phoenix clan, they had to keep a low profile to avoid drawing attention from the True Gods of the Vermilion Bird clan and the Flying Spirit clan from the upper realm. However, given the matters concerning Yichun and the connection to Zhang Yao's master, they would have to make a trip to the Southern Territory for their sake. Even the two True Gods had a premonition that the sudden unification of the chaotic sea area might not be as straightforward as it seemed. They too felt they needed to investigate the matter further. Chapter 508- Black Card, White Card, Blood Card. The situation on the barbaric wilderness continent was constantly changing. Countless strong individuals from the chaotic sea area, western wilderness, and even the heavenly sacred palace were incessantly drawn into it. In the secret cultivation realm of the minor pole sky where Yichun was located, the group of martial artists who had just completed the second cultivation site, Thousand Leaves Platform C of Law True Chi Cultivation, were finally about to begin their second assessment test. When the 5,000-plus martial artists all looked towards the extreme heaven spirit list in the void, the Lan Shi God King said to everyone, "The second assessment test is more difficult than the first and has higher requirements. I can tell you that last time, more than 6,000 people entered the second assessment test, but in the end, only 25 people successfully passed and progressed into the third cultivation site. 6,000 people took the assessment test, with only 25 passing." The words of the Lan Shi God King shocked all the martial artists present. Many martial artists from the lower realms thought back to what Wang Xian, the young man from the Divine Kingdom, had said in the Infinity God Temple. Wang Xian had mentioned that in the previous assessment test, not a single one of the thousands of martial artists from the lower realms made it to the third cultivation site, and all were annihilated in the second assessment. Yichun also remembered what Feng Hua had told him earlier, that securing a third opportunity for cultivation was extremely difficult. This alone indicated the difficulty of the second assessment test. While everyone was still shocked, Lan Shi God King continued to say, "The second assessment test is conducted in a special place called Ice God Mountain. Come, I'll take you there, and then I'll explain the rules of the assessment test." Ice God Mountain? Just as Yi Chun quietly uttered these 4 words, he and all the other martial artists were swept up by Lan Shi God King's sleeve and flew directly from the site of the Thousand Leaves platform Sea of Law, heading towards a direction in the north. After flying for about the duration of a cup of tea and passing through a rainbow bridge-like peculiar transportation formation, Yi Chun and all the martial artists entered a new domain. They were now at an extremely high place in the void. Looking down, they could see an extremely cold world of ice and snow below. They could even see a tremendously large and inconceivable ice-capped mountain standing amid the land. Obviously, this was the second assessment site referred to by Lan Shi God King, Ice God Mountain. This Ice God Mountain was so vast that it was almost akin to a continent itself, covered everywhere with ice and snow. It could be seen that the entire Divine Mountain was dotted with tens of thousands of cave entrances. The diameter of the smallest cave entrance was several miles wide, and the largest was even more than 30 miles wide. The cave entrances led deep into the Ice God Mountain, with no knowing what lay inside. As Lan Shi God King led everyone downwards, Yi Chun felt dwarfed by the enormity of the Ice God Mountain, feeling as insignificant as an ant. Only when they had truly landed on the ground of this frozen world, and not just looking down from a high place in the void, did Yi Chun raise his head to find he could no longer see the entirety of the massive mountain. This is the Ice God Mountain. After landing, Lan Shi God King pointed towards the immense and unbelievable mountain covered in snow and ice, and spoke to everyone. Beside Lan Shi God King Wutsan, God King Lei Yun, and Divine Venerable Hongzhu also looked towards the Divine Mountain. Inside Ice God Mountain lives a special tribe, the Ice Wing Tribe. The people of the Ice Wing Tribe have a close connection with Heavenly Cloud Venerable. Lan Shi God King began to explain the matters concerning Ice God Mountain. Your previous first assessment test in Myriad Dragon Cavern was inhabited by countless true dragons. Those true dragons had most of their consciousness wiped away to be used for your hunting. That was because the true dragon clan had once offended Heavenly Cloud Venerable. But the people of the Ice Wing Tribe are different. In their tribe, an ancestor had a close relationship with Heavenly Cloud Venerable. After their ancestor's demise, the star continent where the Ice Wing Tribe lived was destroyed in war. In order to care for the surviving members of the Ice Wing Tribe, Heavenly Cloud Venerable specially established this Ice God Mountain for them to live and cultivate in. The people of the Ice Wing Tribe are extremely intelligent, especially strong in their true Qi Law abilities. Therefore, Heavenly Cloud Venerable designated the front half of this place as the second True Qi assessment test site. Once the assessment test begins, each of you will be given a blood card, and only with this blood card can you officially enter the assessment area in the front half of the Ice God Mountain to undertake the test. Similarly, among them there are 50,000 powerful warriors from the Ice Wing Tribe of the Heavenly Saint Realm, who will also receive a white card and enter the assessment area. Their mission is to eliminate you, taking your black cards. And your mission is to eliminate them and take their white cards. Remember, whether it's a black card or a white card, it can help you and the Ice Wing Tribe warriors to resist a death crisis once. If you want to take a white card from an Ice Wing Tribe warrior, you must be able to eliminate them. At the moment when you can kill them, when they absolutely cannot resist, their white cards will act in their stead to resist this death for them, and will directly fall, simultaneously determining that they have failed the task and transporting them out of the assessment area. This is equivalent to you having eliminated an Ice Wing Tribe warrior and obtained a white card. Obtaining a white card counts as 1 assessment point. To pass this second assessment, you must reach 1,000 assessment points. That is to say, if you didn't accumulate extra points from the previous round, you must eliminate at least 1,000 members of the Ice Wing Tribe in this round to successfully pass the assessment and earn the qualification to enter the third training ground. As he spoke, Lan Shi God King solemnly reminded the more than 5,000 warriors about to partake in the assessment. The 50,000 Ice Wing Tribe warriors you will be fighting against are all warriors of the Heavenly Saint Realm, including many top experts from the late stage of the Heavenly Saint Realm. Unlike those true dragons from the first area whose intelligence was wiped out, these warriors possess extremely high intelligence. It certainly won't be easy to eliminate 1,000 Ice Wing Tribe warriors, and obtain 1,000 white cards. And undoubtedly, they also very much want to eliminate you because Lord Heavenly Cloud Venerable had promised them that as long as they can collect a certain number of black cards, he will take them out of the Ice God Mountain and into the Divine Kingdom to cultivate. So, this second assessment is a real-life battle to see which side, you or the Ice Wing Tribe warriors, can overcome the other. Hearing Lan Shi God King's words, countless warriors were visibly shaken. Their assessment this time was actually a direct confrontation against the strong warriors of a tribe. They must find ways to eliminate 1,000 Icewing Tribe warriors to break through this second assessment, while the Icewing Tribe warriors also aim to eliminate them in order to seize the opportunity given by Heavenly Cloud Venerable. This is the real contest, a contest of strength, a contest of intelligence. Not as simple as hunting the true dragons whose intelligence had mostly been erased before. And thinking about the number of 1,000 assessment points, many of them took a sharp breath. After the first assessment, many had only accumulated dozens or slightly over 100 assessment points. To pass the second round, they would need to eliminate nearly 1,000 Ice Wing Tribe members to gather 1,000 assessment points, which is extremely difficult. Thinking this, many eyes turned towards Yichun and little provincial princess Fong Luo. After the first round of assessment, Yichun had accumulated a total of 3,969 points, which was more than 3,800 points above the requirement, indicating that his excess points were already sufficient for him to pass the second assessment. Even if Yichun does not eliminate a single Ice Wing Tribe warrior, he would smoothly progress to the next training ground. Little provincial princess Fong Luo similarly had an excess of over 1,000 points from the first time, also enough for the second round. This, of course, made many warriors envious of the little provincial princess and Yichun. Seeing everyone's expressions, both Yichun and little provincial princess shook their heads with a smile. Although they could pass this second assessment with the accumulation from the first, they also didn't relax their efforts. After all, there were still assessments to come, and they wanted to accumulate more points here to establish a good foundation for later. Meanwhile, Lan Shi God King also looked towards Yichun and little provincial princess in the crowd and said aloud, "Of course, those among you who are leading in assessment points on the Extreme Heaven Spirit list should not relax in the slightest. Because in this second assessment, there's a special task involving special rewards." A special task? Yichun and little provincial princess both looked towards Lan Shi God King. Lan Shi God King said, "During the assessment, apart from the 50,000 Icewing Tribe warriors of the Heavenly Saint Realm fighting you, there will also be 10 special Icewing Tribe warriors entering the assessment area as hunters. Each of these 10 special Icewing Tribe warriors is of the True God Realm and carries a blood card. The task of these True God hunters is to hunt down warriors with high assessment points, and those who have eliminated many Icewing Tribe warriors. They hunt you, but you can also eliminate them. If your strength is sufficient to eliminate any one of the True God-level Icewing Tribe warriors and obtain a blood card, you will receive a special reward after the assessment is concluded, getting to choose special treasures left by Lord Heavenly Cloud Venerable in this Ice God Mountain. One blood card allows you one opportunity to choose a special treasure. If you can kill 10 True God hunters and obtain 10 blood cards, you could even select 10 special treasures. Remember, although I do not know what exactly those special treasures are, every one of them is definitely something numerous true gods and even some god kings would covet. Chapter 509-Ice Wing Tribe. The second assessment site at Ice God Mountain features two major tasks. The first task is to accumulate 1,000 assessment points, securing the qualification to enter the next cultivation site. For the over 5,000 martial artists, this task is certainly no easy feat. After all, there are only 50,000 members of the Ice Wing Tribe, and even if all were eliminated, distributing the white cards they hold would barely suffice for 50 contestants. Even taking into account the additional points garnered in the first assessment, on average, no more than 60 people will have the chance to accumulate the necessary 1,000 points. Moreover, during the actual assessment, it's absolutely impossible for distribution to be even. Surely some will obtain many white cards, while others will only receive a few, causing the 50,000 white cards to be even more dispersed. Furthermore, the Ice Wing Tribe will also be eliminating these martial artists. The thought of them completely defeating all 50,000 tribe members is utterly ludicrous. It's upon this realization that everyone finally understood why only 25 contestants passed this assessment last time. The hope of passing this challenge is exceedingly slim. Only those with overwhelming strength against the members of the Ice Wing tribe stand a chance of advancing. As for the second major task, eliminating 10 true god hunters of the Ice Wing tribe, it's even more challenging. True gods. Any one of them surpasses the realm of all the contestants present. Even Yi Chun and the little provincial princess cannot confidently claim they can eliminate a true god hunter from the Ice Wing tribe. Despite having some powerful trump cards, they cannot guarantee success. For those true god hunters of the Ice Wing tribe are true gods after all, and likewise have their own trump cards and ace up their sleeves. To not just fail in eliminating them, but to avoid being eliminated by these true god hunters is considered quite an accomplishment already. The offer from Lan Shi God King to exchange the blood cards in the hands of these true god hunters for special treasures naturally enticed many. Since acquiring the qualification to Minor Pole Sky, they were well aware of the power of Heavenly Cloud Venerable. The treasures left behind in various lower realms by Heavenly Cloud Venerable were extremely precious. Being a site for even higher-level assessments, the special treasures here were undoubtedly extraordinary even without thinking. Upon hearing Lan Shi God King mention treasures that countless true gods and even some divine kingdom monarchs would covet, everyone naturally desired these special treasures even more. But without sufficient strength to face those true god hunters, all hope for these treasures is mere fantasy. In the field, it was only Yi Chun, the little provincial princess, Tian Li, Zhao Xian, and a few others who were truly considering the matter of the special treasures and the true god hunters of the Ice Wing tribe. The rest were focused on how to accumulate 1,000 assessment points, concerning themselves with this first task. After explaining the 2 assessments of the Ice God Mountain, Lan Shi God King pointed into the void, and a series of black cards flew towards the 5,000-plus martial artists about to undertake the second assessment. At the same time, Lan Shi God King said, "Keep these black cards safe. Once you enter the assessment area, as soon as a member of the Ice Wing tribe approaches within 100 miles of you, you will be able to sense it. Likewise, those Ice Wing tribe members can sense your presence within a 100-mile radius through the white cards they hold. Also, take a look at the black card in your hand. It records the current number of your assessment points. As soon as you eliminate a member of the Ice Wing tribe, the number of your assessment points will increase by 1. The number on this black card will also trigger the true god hunters with blood cards of the Ice Wing tribe to sense you. Those with high assessment points must be cautious of these true god hunters." Hearing Lan Shi God King's words, Yi Chun looked down at the black card he had just received in his hand. He immediately saw that as soon as he received the black card, the spiritual light child on his shoulder flickered, and a number 3,869 appeared on the face of the card, while the back displayed Yi Chun's name. This number, 3,869, represents the assessment points Yi Chun had accumulated from hunting true dragons minus the 100 passing points required for entering the second cultivation site, leaving him with the remaining points. On Yi Chun's card were 3,869 points, while the card in the hand of the little provincial princess showed 1,244 points. They ranked the highest. Furthermore, recalling that the Lan Shi God King mentioned the true god hunters of the Ice Wing tribe would prioritize those martial artists with higher assessment points, Yi Chun and the little provincial princess exchanged a glance. "Brother Yi Chun, you're the most likely to catch the attention of those true god hunters. Please be careful," the little provincial princess Fang Luo said to Yi Chun. Yi Chun looked towards the towering Ice God Mountain and nodded solemnly. The other martial artists also looked at the black cards in their hands, calculating the difference between their own scores and the 1,000 points needed to pass. After everyone had received a black card, the Lan Shi God King pointed in the air before the over 5,000 martial artists. A teleportation array appeared on the snowy land ahead of them. Entering this array will teleport you to the assessment area of the Ice God Mountain. Once the black card in your hand falls, you will be eliminated and teleported back here. "I will wait for you here," she said. The duration of the second assessment is the same as the first, also 7 days. Now, Take your black cards and go for the assessment. As the Lan Shi God King finished speaking, Yi Chen, little provincial princess Fang Luo, Tian Li, Zhao Xian, the young people from the Divine Kingdom, along with a host of martial artists from the lower realm, all secured the black cards in their hands and flew into the teleportation array. In the end, all were transported to the assessment area on the front half of the Ice God Mountain. Within the Ice God Mountain, in a vast expanse of ice and snow, there sat 50,000 members of the Ice Wing tribe at the Heavenly Saint Realm, each with a pair of white ice wings on their backs, pointed ears, and a pair of small white horns on their heads, all sitting in meditation. At this time, these 50,000 Ice Wing tribe members were all looking at the white cards in their hands, each with a sharp glint in their eyes. A beautiful late-stage Heavenly Saint girl from the Ice Wing tribe looked at the number 9,939 on her white card and murmured, "I've taken part in the assessment battles 10 times already, eliminating 9,939 martial artists who entered the Ice God Mountain from the outside world. Just 61 more, and I will meet the requirements set by the Heavenly Cloud Venerable. Then, I can directly receive cultivation from the Heavenly Cloud Venerable and enter the Divine Kingdom." Thinking of this, the beautiful girl from the Ice Wing tribe's breathing hastened. Like this beautiful girl, the other members of the Ice Wing tribe had myriad thoughts swirling in their minds. I still need to eliminate 3,500 martial artists from the outside world. This is my first participation in the assessment battles. This time, I heard more than 5,000 martial artists from the outside world will come in. I must accumulate as many assessment points as possible to prepare for entering the Divine Kingdom. While these 50,000 Ice Wing tribe members at the Heavenly Saint Realm were filled with thoughts, above them in the void of the enormous space of ice and snow, 10 individuals in ice armor robes, emanating a formidable aura, were also looking at the tokens in their hands. However, the tokens in the hands of these 10 were not white, but blood-colored. These 10 were none other than the 10 great true god hunters of the Ice Wing tribe set to participate in the assessment competition. Looking towards these 10, one could sense that among them, the weakest were two tribulations true gods, and the strongest was even a presence of a 6 tribulations true god. The moment Yi Chen and the other 5,000+ martial artists entered the teleportation array and flew into the assessment area of the Ice God Mountain. All 50,000 Ice Wing tribe members at the Heavenly Saint Realm in this space of ice and snow, as if sensing something, instantly rose to their feet. They're here. It's time for us to act. For the future of our Ice Wing tribe, let's eliminate these martial artists from the outside world. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. As they spoke, the white ice wings on the backs of these Ice Wing tribe members flapped, and they instantly flew into a teleportation array within the ice and snow space, vanishing from sight. At the same time they disappeared, the 10 true god hunters of the Ice Wing tribe in the void didn't use the teleportation array but directly vanished into thin air. Chapter 510 Ice God Mountain. Outside Ice God Mountain, above the snowy landscape, seeing Yi Chen, the little provincial princess, and over 5,000 others flying into the teleportation array and completely entering the assessment area of the front half of Ice God Mountain, Lan Shi God King smiled and flew back to the side of Divine Venerable Hongzhu, God King Wuzan, and God King Lei Yun, the 3 great powerhouses. The 7-day assessment period. I wonder how many of this batch of youngsters will acquire the qualifications to enter the 3rd training ground this time, Lan Shi God King said, her gaze towards the extreme heaven spirit list floating in the void. God King Wuzan and God King Lei Yun glanced at Divine Venerable Hongzhu and laughed. Anyway, the little provincial princess and Yi Chen have already scored more than enough to meet the requirements to enter the 3rd training ground. Those 2 will definitely make it. The 4 young descendants of the 4 great generals are also very close to the 1,000-point assessment requirement. Given their strength, it should be easy for them to break into the 3rd training ground. Others will depend on their combat power and fortune. Divine Venerable Hongzhu's beautiful eyes also gazed towards the extreme heaven spirit list. At this moment, as over 5,000 warriors officially began their assessment, their scores on the extreme heaven spirit list began to change, jumping and shifting dynamically. The battles against the Ice Wing tribe didn't proceed like the previous assessments, where results were counted after the assessments and then integrated into the Extreme Heaven Spirit list by the Spirit Child. In this combat, when eliminating opponents, their assessment points would instantly display on the black cards in the warrior's hands and show directly on the Extreme Heaven Spirit list. Although the detailed assessment inside Ice God Mountain remained unseen, by observing the numerical changes in assessment points on the Extreme Heaven Spirit list, Divine Venerable Hongzhu and the others could gauge the situation of these warriors' assessments. Divine Venerable Hongzhu's gaze rested continuously on the assessment scores of Yichun and Feng Luo, the little provincial princess, who were ranked in the top 2. She murmured to herself, "Entering the third training ground shouldn't be a problem, but I wonder to what extent Luo'er and Yichun will manage in this trial, with true god hunters chasing them. Will they continue to expand their leading advantage in assessment points or even manage to take 1 or 2 red cards from the hands of true god hunters to exchange for special treasures left by Lord Tianyun? Or will they be eliminated early by the true god hunters? Stay updated through Empire." The actual assessment was unpredictable with countless variations. Everything would depend on their actual combat preparations and reactions. Divine Venerable Hongzhu also couldn't predict to what extent the little provincial princess and Yichun would succeed. All she could do was wait outside. Just wait. Ice God Mountain. Inside the Ice Wing Tribe's residential area of the back half of the mountain. Here, one could see numerous huge screens spanning across several voids behind the mountains of Ice God Mountain. Countless Ice Wing tribespeople scattered across these realms were watching the enormous screens between the voids. Among these tribespeople were children who had not yet started cultivating, young boys and girls who had just reached the True Chi realm or Spirit Sea realm, and even Ice Wing tribe warriors who were at the Rotating Pill realm, Heavenly Saint realm, or True God realm. They watched the names and white card numbers of the 50,000 Ice Wing tribespeople who had entered the assessment area of the front half of the mountain shown on the screens, as well as the names of the 10 True God hunters. At that time, these Ice Wing tribespeople were intently watching the screens and chatting. "Our Ice Wing tribe once again faces combat against external warriors," they said. "Last time, our tribe sent out 50,000 warriors, and in the end, 30 of them accumulated enough to have the opportunity to go to the Divine Kingdom to follow Lord Tianyun for training. This time, who knows how many more will succeed in earning the chance to train under Lord Tianyun in the Divine Kingdom, and how many can endure to the end?" Some of the extremely powerful 8 Tribulation and 9 Tribulation true gods among the Ice Wing tribe were even more keen-eyed. Other than cultivating to the Divine King realm and being taken away by Lord Tianyun, our tribe members can only be recognized by Lord Tianyun by accumulating achievements in battle against external warriors. This time, those selected from our tribe are either the promising descendants or strong heavenly saints, including the 10 true god hunters, who are both potential and powerful warriors of our tribe. Let's hope they seize this opportunity. The children and young boys and girls of the Ice Wing tribe were even more captivated by the stories of their elders, their eyes sparkling as they looked up at the names on the massive screens. "These are the strong warriors of our Ice Wing tribe entering the battle? When I grow up, I also want to participate in this battle, representing our Ice Wing tribe to face those external warriors." Yichun was unaware that his and the other warriors' performances were under constant scrutiny by Divine Venerable Hongzhu, Lan Shi God King, and the other 4 powerhouses. Yichun was also unaware that their opponents, the Ice Wing tribe, also had countless tribespeople following the combat situation of their members. At this moment, after the teleportation, Yichun had arrived inside an ice cave in the assessment area at the front half of Ice God Mountain. Cold. Bone-chilling cold. This was Yi Chen's first impression upon entering Ice God Mountain. This feeling was even more direct than the cold in the ice and snow outside. The temperature here could absolutely freeze the energy channels of countless low-level martial artists, shatter their skin, bones, and cells, and severely damage their souls. After experiencing this extreme cold for a while, Yi Chen stimulated his true chi, transforming it into protective light, keeping the piercing cold out. Within the Ice Divine Mountain, it's a trial of true chi techniques, where only true chi methods can be used in battle. Physical and spiritual techniques are prohibited. As soon as he entered the Ice Divine Mountain, Yi Chun sensed that his physical strength and spiritual probing methods were both restrained. Thinking back to the first assessment area, Dragon's Lair, where only physical strength could be used, Yi-Chun understood. Each battle area corresponded to a training area. He had just completed his true chi training, so it seemed that here they were assessing the achievements of his true chi cultivation. Yi-Chun took a deep breath and instantly transformed into an unbelievable streak of light, flying towards the front. True chi methods. For an assessment like this, Yi-Chun was not afraid. True chi methods were always Yi-Chun's strongest. In the past, he could compete with late-stage heavenly saints using true chi methods. Now, after training in the 1,000-leaf stages Sea of Rules, just the number of rotating pills increased from 405 to 999, eventually fusing into an even more powerful Taiyuan divine pill. Not to mention his realm, which also upgraded from the mid-rotating pill realm to the late-rotating pill realm. Now, Yi-Chun's true chi methods, though still not enough to overcome those true gods, he was absolutely not afraid of anyone in the heavenly saint realm. As for true gods, now that true chi methods could be used, Yi-Chun could finally use those 2 true phoenixes and true god talismans given to him by Mulan True God. Plus, with the Ice Snow Jade Pendant, a space mystical artifact, even if he couldn't defeat the true god hunter from the Ice Wing tribe this time, Yi-Chun was confident he could escape. Even facing those true god hunters was not out of the question. Yi-Chun flew rapidly through the icy caves within the Ice Divine Mountain. The deeper he went, the more he felt the vastness of the assessment area of the Ice Divine Mountain. From the outside, Yi-Chun had previously looked down at the entire Ice Divine Mountain and felt that it was as massive as a starry continent. Now, truly inside, flying in the endless white icy caves, encountering new cave openings and passages intermittently, Yi-Chun felt like it was an endless labyrinth. But Yi-Chun did not need to recognize directions. He knew that since this was an assessment area, the 50,000 members of the Ice Wing tribe that entered would surely encounter him. While flying, Yi-Chun had the Spirit Child 62 following him, observing the surroundings, and he also paid attention to the resonance of the black badge on his body. After entering the Ice Divine Mountain, his spiritual probing was no longer usable, but he still had other methods to stay aware of the situation inside. Hum, hum, hum. A short while after Yi-Chun started flying, his black badge vibrated softly, and at the same time, the Spirit Child 62 immediately spoke up. Master, there are members of the Ice Wing tribe nearby. It's a mid-stage heavenly saint martial artist. Ha ha ha. It's actually a late-stage rotating pill outsider martial artist. When Yi-Chun sensed the presence of a member of the Ice Wing tribe, a middle-aged warrior of the tribe with snow-white ice wings behind him also had his eyes flash with a sharp light as he sensed Yi-Chun. He burst towards the direction he sensed Yi-Chun at in an instant. In just a few breaths, he flew into Yi-Chun's line of sight. This mid-stage heavenly saint warrior from the Ice Wing tribe immediately had an ice divine saber appear in his hand, and with a cold glint in his eye, he vanished in a flash, reappearing before Yi-Chun the next moment, bringing down a slash towards Yi-Chun. Yi-Chun just shook his head and smiled. As the saber from the Ice Wing tribe's mid-stage heavenly saint warrior came slashing towards his neck, Yi-Chun made his move. Whiz! It was just a spark of fire. In the next instant, the middle-aged warrior felt his ice divine saber engulfed by an overwhelming fiery force, and a spark of flame piercing straight towards his skull. He had no chance to dodge, and instantly his white badge fell off his body, and he was teleported out of the assessment area. This meant that without the white badge warding off a deathly blow, the member of the Ice Wing tribe would have died by Yi-Chun's hand. Whiz! Yi-Chun reached out and captured the mid-stage Heavenly Saint's white badge in his hand. A mid-stage Heavenly Saint warrior? Before he even entered the 1,000-leaf stages Sea of Rules 4 training, Yi-Chun could easily kill such characters. How much more now? His power from the 5 great divine arts had improved from its original 2 or 3/10 to almost the perfect 9/10, just shy of completing the divine arts. Killing this middle stage heavenly saint from the Ice Wing tribe was now as easy as crushing an ant. Chapter 511- Yi-Chun? Kill him. After taking a look at the white card dropped by the mid-celestial spirit star warrior, Yi-Chun stored it in the Ice Snow Jade pendant. At the same time, Yichun noticed that the number of assessment points on the black card in his hand had increased by 1. Eliminating one person yields 1 assessment point. It seems I must hurry to obtain more assessment points. Yichun's combat prowess was formidable. Taking down a mid-celestial spirit star warrior from the Ice Wing tribe was simple, unlike many lower-powered warriors who would likely find it troublesome to face a mid-celestial spirit star opponent from the Ice Wing tribe, and even if they could kill one, it would consume some of their energy. But Yichun had a problem. That was, the stronger he became, the more likely he would draw the attention of those 10 true god hunters from the Ice Wing tribe. Now, both he and the little provincial princess were ranked in the top 2 on the Extreme Heaven Spirit list, and they would undoubtedly be targeted by the true god hunters. Although unaware of the methods used by these true god hunters, Yichun, of course, wanted to accumulate more assessment points before encountering them. Whoosh! After slaying the mid-celestial spirit star warrior from the Ice Wing tribe, Yichun didn't pause for a moment and continued flying in a chosen direction towards the front of the ice cave. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Yichun flew swiftly, and the likelihood of encountering Ice Wing tribespeople also greatly increased. In just 3 hours, Yichun had eliminated 164 individuals from the Ice Wing tribe, gaining 164 white cards. Outside the Ice God Mountain, the beautiful ladies Divine Venerable Hongzhu and Lan Shi God King, along with the mighty God King Wutsan and God King Lei Yun, were all observing the fluctuations in the assessment points on the Extreme Heaven Spirit list. It's changed. It's changed again. In a short time, Yichun has eliminated another 5 warriors from the Ice Wing tribe. Just by the assessment points obtained in this Ice God Mountain, Yichun is already far ahead. It's true his vital energy techniques are the strongest among the 3 major signs of life. They're even more formidable than physical combat techniques. The assessment points are jumping continuously, indicating that he doesn't waste much time every time he makes a move. Probably Yichun's biggest problem is the time spent encountering those from the Ice Wing tribe. Watching the Extreme Heaven Spirit list, Lan Shi God King voiced her astonishment. God King Wutsan and God King Lei Yun also exchanged glances and said, speaking of the second assessment location's points alone, only Yichun and Tianli have eliminated over 100 people. The little provincial princess has not yet truly exerted herself. It looks like if Yichun doesn't meet any true god hunters, he could easily obtain over 1,000 assessment points just in this round within 7 days. However, Divine Venerable Hongzhu was somewhat worried. Yichun, who was already ranked first on the Extreme Heaven Spirit list, has now eliminated the most tribespeople from the Ice Wing tribe. Those true god hunters are probably frantically searching for him now. Inside the Ice God Mountain, in the living area of the Ice Wing tribespeople on the rear half of the mountain. On dozens of domains, the constantly changing situations of the assessment were displayed within dozens of void sky screens. At this moment, countless Ice Wing tribespeople were turning their gazes towards the 2 topmost areas on the void sky screens. In the upper left region, it displayed the rankings of the highest number of outsiders eliminated by the 50,000 celestial spirit warriors from the Ice Wing tribe who entered the assessment competition. Bing Lanner has already eliminated 84 outsiders. She has now reached a total of 10,023 outsiders eliminated, including the previous 10 participations. On the first day alone, Bing Lanner has met the requirement of 1,000 outsiders set by Heavenly Cloud Venerable. Regardless of whether she is eliminated later, she can now go to the Divine Kingdom for cultivation. And Bing Xiaoyun, he is also formidable. This time, he has eliminated 52 outsiders, ranking second. Looking at the accomplishments of their fellow tribespeople in the assessment area, the Ice Wing tribespeople were filled with pride. At that moment, an Ice Wing tribesgirl from the Spirit Sea realm shifted her gaze towards the topmost right area of the void sky screens. This area displayed the rankings of the highest number of their tribespeople eliminated by outsiders. This warrior named Yichun is so powerful. Is he from the Celestial Spirit Star? Only 16 years old? He has already eliminated 193 of our tribespeople. Looking at the void sky screens for the Ice Wing tribespeople, one could see that Yichun was ranked first among all outsiders for eliminating Ice Wing tribespeople on the upper right side. At 16 years old, and not from the Divine Kingdom, He has eliminated so many of our people in just over 3 hours. How can this outsider be so powerful? Not only had this little girl noticed the ranking situation on the right, but countless members of the Ice Wing tribe were also watching and discussing these rankings. Powerful warriors are respected everywhere. Although Yi Chun had eliminated Ice Wing tribe's people, it was a battle of strength, and others from the Ice Wing tribe did not harbor hatred towards Yi Chun. Instead, they held him in high regard. Every time Heavenly Cloud Venerable selects external warriors to battle with our tribe's people, there are always a few who are incredibly powerful. Enjoy new adventures from Novelbin.com. It looks like an extraordinary person has emerged amongst the lower-ranking realm's external warriors this time. Some of the Ice Wing tribe's Void Sky True Gods were sighing. And some Ice Wing girls around 15 or 16 years old, with sparkling eyes, said, "This Yi Chun is about the same age as me, and I still don't qualify to enter the battle zone to fight the external warriors. Yet he has already been chosen by Heavenly Cloud Venerable to come here. I really want to see what he looks like, to be so powerful." Of course, there were also some Ice Wing tribes people who were not convinced, saying, "This Yi Chun has eliminated so many of our tribes people, he will probably become a prime target for our 10 true god hunters." It's said that all external warriors who come to Ice God Mountain are below the level of true gods, and Yi Chun is only 16, so it's even more impossible for him to be a true god. As soon as he encounters our tribe's true god hunters, he is doomed. In the midst of discussions among the Ice Wing tribespeople and the concerns of beings like Divine Venerable Hongzhu, at the first half of the Ice God Mountain trial and assessment area, likewise 10 individuals were looking at the blood cards in their hands, their eyes flickering non-stop. These 10 were the Ice Wing tribe's 10 true god hunters who had entered the assessment area. Looking into their blood cards, one could see 20 names appearing within them. On the left side of the blood cards were the top 10 names from the Extreme Heaven Spirit list, and on the right were the rankings of the external warriors who had eliminated the Ice Wing tribespeople. In both rankings, Yi Chun was in the first place, naturally attracting the attention of all the true god hunters. This Yi Chun has already accumulated more than 4,000 points in the Extreme Heaven Spirit list's trials. That's nearly 3,000 more than Feng Luo, who is in second place. He's far ahead of everyone else. Moreover, he has already eliminated nearly 200 of our tribe's people. That's more than 50 more than Tianli, who has the second most eliminations of our people. We must find this Yi Chun and kill him. All the external warriors participating in the trials did not know how the Ice Wing tribe's 10 true god hunters were hunting them down. What they didn't know was that the blood cards in the hands of the true god hunters could sense all 20 ranked individuals on the card within a 1,000 li radius. This sensing area was much wider than that of the black and white cards. They were also unaware of the bounty for hunters who pursued those ranked highest. For every name they eliminated from the blood card, they would directly receive the corresponding trial points as a reward, which could be used to exchange for treasures left by Heavenly Cloud Venerable. At this moment, Yi Chun had accumulated more than 4,000 trial points. If they could kill Yi Chun and eliminate him, the reward points they would get from him alone would be enough for them to exchange for 4 powerful artifacts. Heavenly Cloud Venerable had stipulated that an external warrior who obtains one of these true god hunters' blood cards could exchange it for a special artifact. At the same time, Heavenly Cloud Venerable had also laid down the rule that these true god hunters, for every external warrior they eliminate and every 1,000 reward points they accumulate, could also exchange for a special artifact. The reward points accumulated on Yi Chun had already exceeded 4,000, which, of course, made all 10 true god blood killers extremely eager to kill Yi Chun and eliminate him. Too bad. He hasn't entered my 1,000 li sensing range yet. No. I need to patrol more areas. I must find this Yi Chun. The reward points on him are astonishingly high, much higher than everyone else's. Among the 10 Ice Wing tribe's true god hunters holding blood cards, the most powerful 6 Tribulations true god had a thought and instantly disappeared from the area where he stood. Not just the 6 Tribulations true god, but the remaining 9 true gods were also rapidly flashing and scouting in their respective transmission areas, searching for Yi Chun. At this time, in the southern area of the first half of Ice God Mountain, a 3 Tribulations true god hunter from the Ice Wing tribe flashed through the void several times and revealed a look of complete surprise. I found him. This Yi-chun is actually just over 900 li away from me. Haha. This time, I must kill this Yi-chun, eliminate him, and get those incredible reward points from him. Chapter 512 True God Hunter Bing Luo. How could this Ice Wing Tribe's Void Sky True God not be shocked? How could he not be filled with immense excitement? As one of the 10 True God Hunters participating in this assessment trial, his primary goal was to hunt down powerful warriors from the outside world, earn reward points, and exchange them for the treasures bestowed by the Heavenly Cloud Venerable. As a Void Sky True God, he certainly knew how precious and substantial the rewards bestowed by the Heavenly Cloud Venerable were. Many treasures were not only desired crazily by him, but even many divine kings longed for them greatly. It was only because the Heavenly Cloud Venerable had significant ties with their Ice Wing tribe that he had this opportunity to obtain such treasures, and he definitely cherished it immensely. Of course, he wanted to hunt down powerful existences among the outside world warriors, to gain as many reward points as possible, to exchange for as many treasures as he could. And Yi-chun, he carried over 4,000 reward points on his person. Just this one outsider warrior, if eliminated, would allow him the chance to exchange for 4 treasures. He was naturally filled with immense excitement. Through the blood card, this Ice Wing Tribe's Void Sky True God had already seen the performances and assessment scores of other outsiders. Aside from Yi-chun, who had enough reward points to exchange for 4 treasures, there was another girl named Fong Luo who had over 1,000 points, enough to exchange for 1 treasure. The rest did not even have enough points to exchange for 1 treasure. Of course, the one he most wanted to encounter was Yi-chun. This Void Sky True God of the Ice Wing Tribe knew all too well that not only was he looking for Yi-chun, but other True God Hunters of the Ice Wing Tribe were also in search of him, and being able to get there first certainly filled him with immense excitement. Yi-chun is more than 900 miles away from me. My blood card can probe within a 1,000-mile radius, while the black card held by those outsider warriors only has a 100-mile range. He definitely doesn't know I found him. Now it's time to hunt him down. The eyes of this True God Hunter of the Ice Wing Tribe flashed with a sharp light, and in the next moment, space fluctuated, and he disappeared without a trace. The 205th White Card. In a huge ice cave passage, Yi-chun looked at the Ice Wing Tribe's early Heavenly Saint Strongman who had just been killed and eliminated, vanishing out of sight. Then, Yi-chun smiled and directly snatched the fallen White Card from midair into his hand. Together with the Ice Wing Tribe warriors he had previously eliminated, he now had a total of 205 White Cards. At this time, on the black card in Yi-chun's hand, the displayed assessment score had reached 4,074 points. For 1,074 points, deducting the 1,000 points needed to enter the 3rd cultivation site, I still have over 3,000 points left. Yi-chun smiled and nodded. However, Yi-chun was not complacent enough to stop accumulating assessment points. Entering the 2nd cultivation site requires 100 assessment points. Entering the 3rd cultivation site, on the other hand, needs 1,000 assessment points. I've heard that there are even more precious 4th and final 5th cultivation sites later on. Judging by this trend, I fear that the required assessment points will be higher later on. Now, with just over 3,000 assessment points left, it's not enough. I need to continue accumulating more. After completing this assessment trial, Yi-chun already knew that the 3rd site he was about to enter was the Divine Soul Cultivation Site. The first 3 cultivation sites each correspond to one of the 3 major vital signs of life. 88 Mystical Caves Physical Cultivation Site, 1,000 Leaves Platform Law C True Chi Cultivation Site, and the upcoming Divine Soul Cultivation Site were designed to align with and enhance the 3 major life vital signs. Yi-chun was extremely curious about what the later 4th cultivation site would involve and what would be enhanced. What about the final 5th cultivation site? Hearing from Feng Hua, Yi-chun already knew that the further the site, the more precious it was, and of course he wanted to see what the latter sites were like. He certainly wanted to gain more opportunities for cultivation enhancement from several sites. This point of trial won't suffice if one wishes to move forward, of course. Continue onward. Strive to acquire more trial points from the Ice Wing tribe within these 7 days. With a thought, Yi Chun was about to fly forward again. However, at this moment, an inexplicable sense of threat halted Yi Chun's movement. It was the intuitive reaction of a high-level expert who had cultivated to profound realms. In this Ice God Mountain, the only beings that could pose a threat to Yi Chun were those 10 true god hunters of the Ice Wing tribe within the trial area. This immediately led Yi Chun to speculate whether a true god hunter was nearby. Since entering the Ice God Mountain, what Yi Chun was most cautious of were those 10 true god hunters of the Ice Wing tribe. From the rules of the trial explained by the Lan Shi God King, Yi Chun knew that he would definitely attract the attention of these true god hunters, which made him constantly vigilant. Master, what's wrong? Seeing Yi Chun suddenly stop, Spirit Light Child, 62, on Yi Chun's shoulder asked. Spirit Light Child and the black card detected nothing amiss, and upon seeing Yi Chun's expression change, Spirit Light Child was naturally surprised. Without having spoken to Spirit Light Child yet, as Yi Chun had just touched his true god talisman and ice snow jade pendant, a voice directly emerged in the space where Yi Chun stood. Worthy of being the youth who secured the first place on the Extreme Heaven Spirit list, indeed worthy of being the one who's eliminated the most of our Ice Wing tribe members. You are more than 200 li away from me, and your black card didn't even react to my presence. Yet you had this inexplicable, intuitive response, while stating a distance of over 200 li from Yi Chun. In the next breath, Yi Chun saw the void ahead being torn apart as a figure emerged within the space of the ice cavern's passage. Explore more at novelbin.com. This figure, dressed in a suit of ice armor and with long hair flowing freely, had the appearance of a handsome young man, and behind him sprouted a pair of massive white ice wings. Even his ears were pointed, unlike Yi Chun's, and 2 small white horns adorned his head. An Ice Wing tribe member. Upon seeing the figure, Yi Chun recognized it. The person, like those members of the Ice Wing tribe he had previously eliminated, came from the Ice Wing tribe. What made Yi Chun's face stern, however, was the atmosphere emanating from the young man in the ice armor and the token in his hand. The aura swirling around this young man in ice armor was unmistakably that of a 3 Tribulations true god, and the token in his hand, which Yi Chun had never seen before, was a blood-colored token, the blood card belonging to the 10 true god hunters of the Ice Wing tribe, redeemable for special treasures left by the Heavenly Cloud Venerable. This person was indeed one of the 10 true god hunters of the Ice Wing tribe. Seeing that the true god hunter was a 3 Tribulations true god, Yi Chun's face was grave, yet he did not immediately flee into the ice snow jade pendant to escape. 3 Tribulations true god. Yi Chun had faced one before. Back in 5 Elements Mountain, Yi Chun had an earth-shaking battle with the 3-eyed skeleton, who had fallen from the 4 Tribulations true god rank to the 3 Tribulations true god strength. Although he was aided by the True Phoenix's true god talisman, having already battled against such strong entities, Yi Chun felt a certain confidence in his heart. Yi Chun's solemn face, yet without the look of fear or the intent to flee, caught the eye of the armored true god hunter of the Ice Wing tribe, prompting a surprised hum from the Ice Wing tribe's true god. You're actually not running away. Run, Yi Chun said with a smile. In the presence of a great true god, even if I wanted to run, I couldn't escape, right? Haha. Interesting, very interesting. The true god hunter of the Ice Wing tribe laughed heartily at Yi Chun's composed demeanor. You and I have met here by chance, thanks to the opportunity granted by Lord Heavenly Cloud Venerable. Indeed, the person who is ranked first by Lord Heavenly Cloud Venerable is no ordinary individual. If we had met elsewhere, maybe we could have made each other's acquaintance. But here, we each have Lord Heavenly Cloud Venerable's trial to contend with, you to eliminate our Ice Wing tribe members, and we to eliminate you. So, Yi Chun, let me introduce myself. I am Bing Luo, a 3 Tribulations true god from the Ice Wing tribe. Being eliminated by me, you've no reason to feel aggrieved. As the Ice Wing tribe's true god Bing Luo spoke, the pair of massive white ice wings on his back began to vibrate buzzingly, and an aura belonging to a true god instantly swept across the entire ice cavern, enveloping Yi Chun. Chapter 513- slaying the gods. True gods, for countless martial artists, represent a deity-like existence. Their true god's power far surpasses the power of the heavenly void law, even capable of directly shattering and assimilating the heavenly void law power of lower realm martial artists. In the presence of such beings, even heavenly saint top powerhouses are absolutely powerless. When the true god aura of Bing Luo from the Ice Wing tribe swept towards Yi Chen, it instantly aimed to suppress all of Yi Chen's essence, energy, and spirit. In Bing Luo's eyes, no matter how strong Yi Chen was, even if he had the combat strength of a top heavenly saint after only reaching the late rotating pill stage, even if Yi Chen stood out among these examiners, he would absolutely not be a match for his true god level move. If Yi Chen only possessed heavenly saint level skills, then indeed he would not be a match for Bing Luo. But of course, Yi Chen's abilities were not limited to the heavenly saint level. Boom! As Bing Luo's true god aura enveloped Yi Chen, the true god talisman left by the true phoenix in Yi Chen's hand was already being stimulated, and the divine light of tremendous divine power instantly poured into every part of Yi Chen's body. Yi Chen, too, was imbued with true god-level strength. The true phoenix, being a 5 tribulations true god, had crafted a talisman with divinely powerful energy contained within it. Even when Yi Chen was only in the early rotating pill stage, invoking its divine power, he was able to fight against a 3-eyed skeleton, who had fallen from a 4 tribulations true god to a 3 tribulations true god. Now, Yi Chen had gone through breakthrough after breakthrough, greatly increasing his strength, and his true chi realm had risen to the late rotating pill stage. Using the true god talisman left by the true phoenix now, he could of course unleash even more of its stored power. Whoosh! With divine power infusing him, Yi Chen reached out with a grand gesture, completely shredding the true god aura that Bing Luo had swept towards him. Then, Yi Chen looked at Bing Luo with a smile. True god Bing Luo, bring out your real skills. That bit of power is far from enough. Sensing the formidable divine power bursting from Yi Chen, Bing Luo was completely shocked. He had thought that Yi Chen, at best a cross-realm top heavenly saint, actually used a true god-level skill, and furthermore, this divine power even slightly terrified him. This is a true god talisman crafted by a 5 tribulations true god. You actually have a 5 tribulations true god talisman. You're just a rotating pill from a lower plane? How do you have such a thing? Bing Luo was astonished, but Yi Chen was not about to waste words with Bing Luo. Each had their own mission. They needed to eliminate the other. After the grand battle, only one of them would be able to remain in this examination area. The true god talisman in Yi Chen's hand had been through a great battle with the 3-eyed skeleton in the 5 Elements Mountain and later against Gold Luminous Sun, and it had lost much of its divine power, with not much of it left now. He certainly had to act quickly, taking care of this Ice Wing tribe's true god as soon as possible. True god Bing Luo, there's no need for more words. Let me see the abilities of a true god. Boom! 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 With divine power infusing him, Yi Chen suddenly charged at Bing Luo, and within the radiance of the 5 great divine arts in Yi Chen's hand, the wood attribute divine art, heaven-devouring true fire, transformed into 8 astonishing fire dragons, which blazed furiously towards Bing Luo from all directions. Divine arts are martial skills that can be stimulated with divine power. Yi Chen's heaven-devouring true fire was already close to the level of great mastery. Driven by his own combat strength alone, it was capable of reaching the extreme peak of the heavenly saint level. Now, infused with divine power, the potency of heaven-devouring true fire truly possessed the ability to shatter the void and kill true gods. 8 astonishing fire dragons instantly enveloped Bing Luo, and as Yi Chen continued his assault, he immediately triggered another divine art, the metal attribute divine art, Golden Light Divine Slash. With one slash from Yi Chen, the boundless golden light also slashed towards Bing Luo. Bing Luo had not expected that Yi Chen, a foreign martial artist he had hoped to eliminate with a single move, would actually launch an attack on him, and moreover, an unceasing attack. He, a 3 tribulations true god, was actually being forced into a reactive defense by a mere rotating pill. When Bing Luo fully unleashed his divine power and cast the Ice Wing tribe's divine art, the Ice Vast Nine Secrets, transforming himself into a towering ice storm to confront Yi Chen's deadly moves, he was even more astonished. His Ice Storm divine art couldn't completely extinguish Yi Chen's 8 astonishing fire dragons. And at that moment, Yi Chen's golden light divine slash had already reached his body. Spurt, spurt, spurt. The titanic ice storm that Bing Luo had transformed into was continuously shattered by the golden light divine slash. It seemed that his move's might was even below the power of the 2 divine arts powered by Yi Chen's divine power. Yi Chen, who had traded blows with Bing Luo, hadn't expected his killing move to increase in potency so much. With his realm advancement and improvement in divine arts, his combat strength using the True God Talisman's divine power had reached a new level. Now, facing the 3 tribulations True God Bing Luo from the Ice Wing tribe, he was gaining the upper hand. He had many other moves he hadn't used yet. If deployed all at once, eliminating this True God was possibly within reach. Once he could eliminate this True God, he would directly obtain the blood card from him. With the blood card, one could directly exchange for the special treasures left by the Heavenly Cloud Venerable. At this thought, Yi Chen became even more intent on thoroughly slaying and eliminating True God Bing Luo. As Yi Chen's golden light divine slash and heaven-devouring true fire were simultaneously unleashed, momentarily suppressing True God Bing Luo, Yi Chen's inner, supreme origin pill surged, simultaneously drawing on the robust True God's power from the True God Talisman once more. Yi Chen then unleashed the 3rd divine art, the Earth attribute divine art, Earth returning to origin secret. In the void, one by one, spheres of Earth appeared, each with an unfathomable force capable of penetrating mountains and rivers, blasting towards Bing Luo. Bing Luo was greatly shocked. He had already faced the golden light divine slash, the fiery blaze consuming him, and now he was facing the explosive killing power of the Earth bead. Yi Chen's various methods, enhanced by the power of a true god, were each at the combat strength of a true god level, which completely caught him off guard. I can't keep being passive like this. As the saying goes, it's slower to talk than to act. The exchange at the level of the true god was virtually instantaneous. Seeing that his Ice Vast Nine Secrets divine arts ice explosion could not withstand Yi Chen's incessant layers of attack, Bing Luo's pair of ice wings on his back furiously fluttered. Within the vast ice cave channel, endless ice flowers suddenly burst forth, plummeting at high speed cluster after cluster, instantly petrifying the entire void. Even time itself came to a momentary halt. This divine art, which exceeded the power of the heavenly void law and could only be comprehended by a true god, was a combination of spatial and temporal laws, the silent ice domain. In an instant, the entire ice cave was completely enveloped by endless ice flowers, covered by the silent ice domain. Yi Chen and Bing Luo's figures were no longer visible. Suppression. With my silent ice domain's divine might that arrests space and halts time momentarily, I will completely crush you. Amidst the endless ice flowers, only Bing Luo's sudden roar could be heard. Really? Then let's have a real showdown. At that moment, within the space obscured by the endless ice flowers, Yi Chen's voice calmly carried over. And at the same time, 2 more divine arts began to unleash their power. The wood attribute divine art and the water attribute divine art power also explosively blooming within this domain of endless ice flowers. This bloom signified that Yi Chen had not been immobilized by the silent ice domain. Yi Chen was still directly and openly confronting Bing Luo. Until the end, within the vast ice cave channel, one could only sense the continual clashing of true god-level powers and the endless flashing of lights. Yi Chen and Bing Luo's figures had completely vanished. The Ice God Mountain was created by the Heavenly Cloud Venerable. Especially the front half of the mountain in the examination area, which was meticulously refined by the Heavenly Cloud Venerable, able to withstand attacks at the God King level. If not for the Ice God Mountain being exceptionally sturdy, the grand battle at the True God level between Yi Chen and Bing Luo would have been enough to cause all ice cave channels within the Ice God Mountain to collapse. to completely shred this shockingly huge ice god mountain. But even if the ice god mountain remained unaffected, the battle still caused the ice cave channels to boom and explode endlessly, shocking to the core. It was only at the end, when a clear, piercing sword cry sounded, that the real powers of the void, the endless light, and the terrible noise of battle finally dissipated. When the true scene within the ice cave was revealed, one could see Yi Chen's figure re-emerging, and the true god Bing Luo of the Ice Wing tribe had vanished without a trace. On the ground, a token fell, a blood-colored token. The evident outcome was that Bing Luo, the Three Tribulations true god of the Ice Wing tribe, had been eliminated by Yi Chen. Whoosh! Yi Chen reached out and directly snatched the blood token from the ground into his hand. Looking at the blood token, then at the true god talisman in his other hand, Yi Chen sighed. My true god talisman has less than 1/5 of its power remaining. Having used all 5 of my divine arts, and even mobilized my flying sword Crimson Fire at the end, I killed and eliminated Bing Luo, but even my divine power has been exhausted so much. I'm afraid that the remaining divine power might not be enough to deal with another true god like him. But fortunately, it's not without gain. Having obtained such a blood token, I can at least exchange it for a special artifact left by the great heavenly cloud venerable. Yi Chen smiled, put away the blood token, and with a move of his figure, he disappeared from the ice cave. Yi Chen might remain unperturbed, but the other realms were in utter chaos. Boom! 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 The moment Yi Chen eliminated Bing Luo, true god Bing Luo was teleported out of the Ice God Mountain examination area. Bing Luo's face was filled with disbelief as he was teleported out, unable to fathom how he could have been defeated by Yi Chen's unbelievable final flying sword strike. And in the hands of the other 9 true god hunters of the Ice Wing tribe, a red light simultaneously appeared on their blood tokens. In those tokens, right beside Yi Chen's name, a blood token symbol directly appeared. This signified that Yi Chen had slain and eliminated a true god hunter. The 8th blood token is Bing Luo. Bing Luo has actually been eliminated by that Yi Chen. The 9 true gods of the Ice Wing tribe looked at the blood token symbol behind Yi Chen's name, completely in disbelief. When a true god falls, the blood token reveals. In their blood tokens, Yi Chen's location appeared. This Yi Chen is in the southern part of the Ice God Mountain, in passage 905. The remaining 9 true gods of the Ice Wing tribe let out high-pitched screams. No matter how he eliminated Bing Luo, I must meet him, see what exactly is going on. Whoosh! 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 The 9 true god hunters of the Ice Wing tribe flew frantically from all directions towards where Yi Chen was located. Chapter 514- Fighting while retreating. When Bing Luo was eliminated, and the other 9 true god hunters were all frantically chasing after Yi Chen. Behind the Ice God Mountain, the gathering place of the Ice Wing tribe. At this time, on the Void Heaven Light Curtain, in the ranking list showing the number of Ice Wing tribespeople eliminated by the martial artists of the outer world, Yi Chen's name still occupied the top spot. The moment true god hunter Bing Luo was eliminated by Yi Chen, a blood card icon directly appeared behind Yi Chen's name on the Void Heaven Light Curtain. Upon seeing this blood card icon, all the Ice Wing tribespeople who knew what it represented couldn't help but cry out in disbelief. One of our true god hunters has been eliminated. It's that Yi Chen ranking first. He eliminated one of our true gods. The Ice Wing tribespeople were incredibly shocked, utterly unable to believe it. Other young Ice Wing tribespeople, who were unaware of what the blood card icon meant, were perplexed when they heard what the others were saying. Eliminated one of our true gods? Does the blood card symbol behind that Yi Chen's name signify the defeat of a true god hunter? The previously screaming Ice Wing tribespeople explained. The 10 true god hunters are tasked with hunting the higher-ranking outside martial artists. Likewise, the external warriors can also kill and eliminate the 10 true god hunters. Once an outside martial artist achieves that, a corresponding number of blood cards will appear behind their name. One blood card signifies the elimination of one true god hunter. It is rumored that Heavenly Cloud Venerable himself places great value on such powerful outsiders. For every true god hunter they eliminate, they get a chance to select a reward from the treasures. But over the years, through countless battles between the Ice Wing tribe and outsiders, very few have managed to kill and eliminate a true god hunter. And those who have managed to do so are, without exception, powerful martial artists with significant backgrounds from the divine kingdoms. This Yi-Chun, the void heaven light curtain, shows he's from the lower realm, not a person from the divine kingdom. Yet he also managed to do this. It's unimaginable by what means he killed our true god. His strength and fortune are definitely remarkable. Not just any ordinary lower realm martial artist. Hearing these narrations from those Ice Wing tribespeople who understood the truth, the other members of the tribe shifted their gaze to Yi-Chen's name on the void heaven light curtain, especially to the shining blood card icon behind it. This time, countless Ice Wing tribespeople truly recognized the strength of Yi-Chun, who ranked first. Outside the Ice God Mountain, while the countless Ice Wing tribespeople were astonished, God King Hongzhu, Lan Shi God King Wutsan, and God King Lei Yun, who were closely following the progress on the Extreme Heaven Spirit list, were also profoundly moved. Looking toward the Extreme Heaven Spirit list, they saw that, just like on the Ice Wing tribe's void heaven light curtain, a blood card had appeared behind Yi-Chen's name. These powerful individuals, of course, understood the significance of this blood card far more clearly than the Ice Wing tribespeople. Lan Shi God King's exquisite eyes shone with excitement. I never thought that the first to slay a true god hunter of the Ice Wing tribe would be Yi-Chun. Apparently, he must have true god-level abilities. He can even contend with a true god of the Ice Wing tribe. Those martial artists from the lower realm who make it to Minor Pole Sky can only be at the Heavenly Saint realm or below. They wouldn't bring true gods here. In the lower realms, they belong to martial artists of the lower realm. It's rare to encounter a true god there. Under such circumstances, obtaining a true god-level opportunity is nearly impossible. God King Hongzhu's eyes also sparkled. This young fellow Yi-Chun really had extraordinary fortune in the lower realm. I am somewhat tempted to visit his hometown, Celestial Spirit Star. God King Wutsan and God King Lei Yun also shook their heads and smiled. That Celestial Spirit Star hasn't had martial artists with the opportunity to come to Minor Pole Sky for tens of thousands of years. It's surprising that this time, such a remarkable genius has come. These powerful beings knew that the opportunity in Minor Pole Sky was left by Lord Heavenly Cloud Venerable in the lowest places of the lower realm. Places like Celestial Spirit Star, not even the upper realm's Minor Spirit Realm, had the chance to obtain the Minor Pole Sky opportunity. Only warriors from the 33 lands of the lower realm had the chance. And the 33 lands were realms where true gods hardly ever descended. In such lower realms of the lower realm, getting the opportunity of a true god was something these powerful beings knew to be extremely difficult. Yi-Chun did not know that his elimination of Bing Luo would make all other members of the Ice Wing tribe aware, nor did he realize the four powerful beings, God King Hongzhu, Lan Shi God King Wutsan, and God King Lei Yun, were reflecting deeply upon it. Yi-Chun was also unaware that the other 9 true god hunters of the Ice Wing tribe had located his position through the recently acquired blood card, and were rapidly converging on him from all directions. After eliminating Bing Luo and obtaining a blood card, Yi-Chun continued his accumulation of white cards. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. About the time it takes to drink a cup of tea later, Yi-Chun encountered 3 groups of Ice Wing tribe's Heavenly Saint martial artists in rapid succession, eliminating all 18 of them without pause. The total number of white cards Yi-Chun had obtained had soared to 223. Yi-Chun's total points in the assessment competition had reached 4,092 points. And this was just the first day. Just when Yi-Chun thought he had just eliminated a true god hunter and wouldn't encounter another one anytime soon, there was a boom as the void directly exploded. A true god of the void, stronger even than Bing Luo, tore through the void and appeared not far in front of Yi-Chun in the vast ice cave passageway. This person was none other than Bing Ao, the strongest 6 robbery true god among the remaining 9 true god hunters of the Ice Wing tribe. His distance from Yi-Chun was the closest among the true god hunters, except for the earlier Bing Luo. and his strength was the greatest among the top 10 true god hunters. Of course, he was the first to find Yi Chun. Seeing the aura on Bing Ao, Yi Chen's face changed dramatically. If he was somewhat confident he could handle Bing Luo, this newly arrived true god was someone Yi Chun dared not confront. This was a 6 robbery true god who was even stronger than the 5 robbery true phoenix who had crafted the true god talisman for him. Even with the divine power of the true god talisman, he was absolutely no match for him. You actually eliminated Bing Luo, just as the 6 robbery true god, Bing Ao, had begun to speak with Yi Chun and was about to ask how Yi Chun had eliminated Bing Luo. The next moment, the 6 robbery true god discovered that Yi Chun had completely disappeared into the void. What's going on? Bing Ao was completely astonished. Glancing at the blood card in his hand, he was shocked to see that Yi Chen's position was still close by, sprinting towards the ice cave entrance at great speed. Yi Chun actually has a way to conceal himself and escape so quickly? Bing Ao hadn't expected Yi Chun to be so decisive, fleeing the moment he saw him. What he didn't know was that Yi Chun had flown directly into the superior quality divine artifact Ice Snow Jade Pendant and, with the concealed divine might of the Tongming Mirror, had stealthily flown away. The Tongming Mirror could be used once a day. Since hunting a true dragon in the Myriad Dragon Cavern, Yi Chun hadn't used it for a long time. Now faced with the sudden assault of a 6 robbery true god, Yi Chun immediately employed its concealed divine might. Unexpectedly, the combination of the Tongming Mirror and the Ice Snow Jade Pendant even prevented the 6 robbery true god from noticing his escape for a moment. Escape! Yi Chun was fleeing rapidly ahead with the aid of the Ice Snow Jade Pendant. Pursuit! The 6 robbery true god, Bing Ao, used the guidance of the blood card in his hand to relentlessly chase after Yi Chun. A superior quality divine artifact would normally allow for extremely swift escape. Even if a powerful true god were using it, the 6 robbery true god, Bing Ao, would be unable to catch up. But Yi Chun, who was only at the late stage of the pill rotation, even though he had made significant progress since hunting the true dragon in the Myriad Dragon Cavern, couldn't fully harness the escape speed of the superior quality divine artifact Ice Snow Jade Pendant. He was merely managing to avoid being caught by the 6 robbery true god. Thus, a bizarre scene unfolded in the Ice God Mountain. An outsider martial artist, Yi Chun, was fleeing rapidly ahead, while the 6 robbery true god, Bing Ao, was furiously chasing him from behind. In the end, when Yi Chun realized he couldn't shake the 6 robbery true god with the Tongming Mirror, he even put it away and began to fly ahead at full strength using the Ice Snow Jade Pendant. When this scene finally collided with other members of the Ice Wing tribe, those tribespeople were completely stunned by the sight of a point of brilliant light transformed by the Ice Snow Jade Pendant rushing towards them and their powerful true god hunter clansmen in hot pursuit behind. And Yi Chun, where would he let go of such an opportunity? Already being pursued by the 6 robbery true god, the chances of him claiming another white card were slim. As these Ice Wing tribe martial artists fell into a moment of distraction, Yi Chun passed by them in an instant, striking swiftly as he flew by. Whoosh! Instantly, the attacked Ice Wing tribe Heavenly Saint Realm martial artist was eliminated by Yi Chun, and the white card that fell from his body hadn't even hit the ground, falling less than an inch before Yi Chun collected it into the Ice Snow Jade Pendant. Yi Chun continued to flee and, at the same time, kept striking, eliminating white card warriors of the Ice Wing tribe. This drove the 6 robbery true god, Bing Ao, who was chasing behind him, to the brink of madness. After chasing through dozens of ice caves, with Yi Chun fleeing and killing as he went, he had eliminated 33 Ice Wing tribe warriors. Bing Ao was even forced to, while chasing Yi Chun, transmit a divine sound for the Ice Wing tribe warriors ahead to get out of the way. Despite that, there were still many Ice Wing tribe warriors who couldn't avoid in time, and Yi Chun instantly killed them and took their white cards. About half an hour into the chase, another true god hunter joined the pursuit of Yi Chun. However, even with one more, the new true god hunter was not as strong as Bing Ao and, of course, could not catch up to Yi Chun. In the end, after 3 days had passed, all 9 remaining true god hunters of the Ice Wing tribe were chasing after Yi Chun from behind, an event so extraordinary that it spread through the entire Ice God Mountain with the help of numerous martial artists who had moved out of the way in advance. Chapter 515 Trade and Special Rewards. They pursued Yi Chun for an entire day. In the end, after attempting to encircle, blockade, burn true god energy and even deploying divine artifacts to chase, they still couldn't catch up to Yi Chun, who continuously escaped using the Ice Snow Jade Pendant. 8 of the remaining 9 true god hunters were left with no choice but to give up. There wasn't much time left for the trial. Continuing like this, they feared they might not get any reward points at all. This Yi Chun is really tough to deal with. He has such a powerful divine artifact treasure. Although the reward points on him are tempting, there's nothing we can do if we can't get them. If we keep chasing him, we might miss out on the points from other martial artists from the outside world. Eventually, 8 of the Ice Wing Tribe True God Hunters turned to search for other martial artists with reward points in their blood cards, completely giving up the pursuit of Yi Chun. The only one who still insisted on pursuing Yi Chun was Bing Ao, the true god of the 6 tribulations. Bing Ao couldn't believe it. This Yi Chun, even if his divine artifact is formidable, given his realm, using the artifact must deplete a lot of his true chi. How can he manage to be on the run for 4 straight days without any break? Keep chasing. I refuse to believe he can keep running away. What this 6 tribulations true god Bing Ao didn't know was that Yi Chun had something else besides the Ice Snow Jade Pendant. A treasure he obtained after killing the fat and skinny holy saints in the 5 Elements Mountain. Over 20 drops of primordial extreme spiritual fluid. This primordial extreme spiritual fluid could restore a martial artist's depleted true chi very quickly. 1 drop could instantly replenish the completely exhausted true chi of a powerhouse at the late stage of Heaven Saint. Yi Chen's newly cultivated Taiyuan Divine Pill was immensely powerful, with an astonishing amount and recovery rate of true chi, coupled with the more than 20 drops of primordial extreme spiritual fluid he had. After being chased by the 9 true god hunters for 4 days, Yi Chun had only used up 8 drops, still having more than a dozen left. If this continued, even if Bing Ao pursued him until the 7 days of trials ended, Yi Chun wouldn't let him catch up. Bing Ao, who was completely unwilling to give up on Yi Chen's reward points, became increasingly anxious as he chased. When time reached the last day of the trial, and it was about to end soon, Bing Ao finally realized that he absolutely couldn't catch up to Yi Chun like this. At that moment, after struggling a bit on his face, Bing Ao called out to Yi Chun from afar, "Young friend Yi Chun, I will no longer chase you. Can we discuss something that is greatly beneficial to both of us? If you don't trust me, I can stop first." After Bing Ao called out from a distance, he indeed stopped. Discuss something greatly beneficial to both of us? Being chased by Bing Ao and the other 8 true god hunters, Yi Chun hadn't had much energy to kill more Ice Wing tribe members he encountered while escaping in recent days, especially since he had spent quite a bit of his precious primordial extreme spiritual fluid. Yi Chun had long hoped that Bing Ao, the last to insist on the chase, would give up. To Yi Chen's surprise, when Bing Ao gave up, he didn't leave but actually spoke out, wanting to discuss something with him. Yi Chun hesitated for a moment inside the Ice Snow Jade Pendant, but seeing that Bing Ao had indeed stopped, he also stopped the Ice Snow Jade Pendant from a distance. Of course, Yi Chun wasn't the slightest bit careless and didn't come out of the Ice Snow Jade Pendant. The one facing him was a true god of the 6 tribulations. No matter what the other party was planning, he had to be extremely cautious. Seeing Yi Chen's wary demeanor, Bing Ao couldn't help but smile wryly. As a 6 tribulations true god, after pursuing Yi Chun for several days and now that the trial was about to end without having caught up, he really didn't have the energy to keep fighting with Yi Chun. "Young friend Yi Chun," Bing Ao started, signaling his goodwill. "To be able to escape from us 9 true god hunters, and even previously eliminating one of our true gods, is truly impressive. I am Bing Ao of the Ice Wing tribe, a 6 tribulations true god, and I feel quite ashamed. Senior Bing Ao, just speak frankly. We are all participating in this trial according to the Heavenly Cloud Venerable's requirements. No need for courtesy with me." Yi Chen's voice transmitted from the Ice Snow Jade Pendant. Bing Ao smiled wryly and nodded. "Since you know we are all participating in the trial at the command of the Heavenly Cloud Venerable, let me talk about the matter I mentioned earlier, which would be greatly beneficial to both of us. The reason we hunt you and other frontrunners from the outside world is because the Heavenly Cloud Venerable decreed that if we eliminate any of you high-ranking martial artists, we can obtain reward points corresponding to your trial points from you. Friend Yi-chun, you have more than 4,000 reward points on you, far surpassing all other martial artists who entered the Ice God Mountain with you. Just eliminating you would be enough to exchange for 4 precious treasures. And since you eliminated one of our true gods, your location has been exposed on our blood card, so we were all racing to hunt you down. The true god hunters also get treasure rewards? Like I can get special rewards from the blood cards in their hands? Yi-chun finally learned the reason behind these true god hunters' mobilization. It turns out they were also motivated by treasures from the Heavenly Cloud Venerable. Yi-chun also realized why the 9 true god hunters had successively located him. It turns out after he eliminated Bing Luo, his position was exposed on the other true god hunters' blood cards. But Yi-chun was puzzled. Senior Bing Ao, what is the matter that would be greatly beneficial to both of us that you mentioned? Bing Ao laughed. Young friend Yi-chun, even if I eliminate you and obtain more than 4,000 reward points from you, it does not affect your trial points. It only means that your trial is over and you no longer have the chance to accumulate trial points in the Ice God Mountain. Yi-chun nodded. Indeed, as the Lan Shi God King had said, every martial artist eliminated from the competition merely ended their trial, and the points accumulated prior were not erased but maintained. The reward points gained by these true god hunters of the Ice Wing tribe, however, had nothing to do with them. Yi-chun had already guessed what Bing Ao was about to propose. Sure enough, Bing Ao said, now that we've reached the last day of the trial, there's not much time left for the competition. Yi-chun, you've been pursued by me all this time and have hardly had the energy to snatch the white card from my fellow tribesmen. Why not make a deal with me? I can let you pick 2 divine artifact treasures from my collection in exchange for deliberately getting eliminated once and giving me your more than 4,000 reward points. This way, Yi-chun, you can obtain 2 treasures, while I can exchange for 4 treasures. Deducting the 2 treasures I give to you, I too can gain an additional 2 treasures. We'll both be happy. What do you say? This 6 Tribulations true god Bing Ao had actually thought of a profit-sharing scheme with Yi-chun. Yi-chun glanced at Bing Ao. Bing Ao's proposal was indeed beneficial to both parties. If Yi-chun obtained 2 treasures from him, even if he were to be eliminated afterward, he wouldn't lose anything and would end up with 2 treasures for free. Otherwise, if they continued at this rate, even if he emerged unscathed, he would have no chance of gaining any more treasures. Moreover, since Bing Ao was a 6 Tribulations true god, the treasures he possessed should also be of no small value. By trading with him, the two could also make each other's acquaintance. With this in mind, Yi-chun was already considering agreeing to the trade with Bing Ao. However, Yi-chun naturally wanted to see what divine artifact treasures Bing Ao had first. When Bing Ao waved his hand grandly, displaying all his treasures and introducing them one by one, Yi-chun's eyes lit up upon seeing 2 of the items. Outside Ice God Mountain. As the 7 days of the second trial location were about to end, more than 5,000 martial artists who had entered the Ice God Mountain had mostly been eliminated by the people of the Ice Wing tribe. Feng Hua was among them. However, at this moment, Feng Hua's expression was very relaxed. Although he had been eliminated, he had accumulated enough points before the elimination. His trial points had reached 1,103 points, and he barely managed to qualify for the 3rd training location he had longed for. Looking at the extreme heaven spirit list in the void with great ease, Feng Hua said, Brother Yi-chun is still ranked 1st on the extreme heaven spirit list, and he even eliminated a true god of the Ice Wing tribe. At this time, on the extreme heaven spirit list, behind Yi-chun's trial points, there was a striking blood card symbol. This blood card symbol had every eliminated martial artist asking its meaning. Upon hearing that it signified Yi-chun eliminating a true god of the Ice Wing tribe and earning a chance to exchange for a special treasure left by Heavenly Cloud Venerable in the Ice God Mountain, every eliminated martial artist was both shocked and envious. Feng Hua was, of course, aware of the significance of the blood card symbol. When he thought of the dozens of martial artists who had been eliminated from the Ice God Mountain, mentioning that they had witnessed the 9 true god hunters of the Ice Wing tribe chasing Yi Chun in the ice caves of the Ice God Mountain, not even halting their pursuit upon seeing him, Feng Hua was even more astonished. Feng Hua speculated that the 9 great true god hunters of the Ice Wing tribe's pursuit of Yi Chun must be related to that blood card symbol behind Yi Chen's name. It was very likely that Yi Chen's elimination of a true god hunter had triggered the frenzied pursuit of the other 9 hunters. Brother Yi Chun seems to have worked another great miracle in this second trial, Feng Hua mused. Once he comes out, I must ask him about what happened inside. The 7 days are almost over. Brother Yi Chun and the little provincial princess, along with the last few who haven't come out of the Ice God Mountain, should be coming out soon. As Feng Hua was lost in his thoughts, a flash of light swept across the extreme heaven spirit list, and another blood card symbol suddenly appeared behind Yi Chen's name. This indicated that Yi Chun had eliminated another true god hunter of the Ice Wing tribe. What's going on? Not just Feng Hua, but the other eliminated martial artists were also surprised by such a last-minute change during the end of the 7-day trial. While they were still in shock on the extreme heaven spirit list, a flash of light also appeared behind the name of the little provincial princess, Feng Luo, displaying a blood card symbol. The little provincial princess eliminated a true god hunter of the Ice Wing tribe too? This continuous change in the situation at the last moment completely stunned those martial artists that had been eliminated earlier. In the midst of their astonishment, the teleportation array leading in and out of the Ice God Mountain flickered with light, and Yi Chen's figure appeared directly in the center of the array. Soon after Yi Chen's appearance, swoosh, 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 the little provincial princess, Tian Li, and the rest who were still in the Ice God Mountain, were all transported out as well. Chapter 516- Divine Artifact, Divine Treasure. Under the watchful eyes of countless onlookers, Yi Chun smiled, fondled the 2 treasures and 2 blood cards in his embrace, and walked toward the crowd. Those 2 treasures, of course, had come from Bing Ao, the 6 Tribulations true god of the Ice Wing tribe. In the end, Yi Chun chose to make a deal with Bing Ao, maximizing benefits for both sides. Yi Chun opted to have Bing Ao eliminated, allowing him to acquire the more than 4,000 reward points on Bing Ao's person. In return, before being eliminated himself, he selected 2 treasures from Bing Ao that caught his eye. These 2 treasures were both mid-grade divine artifacts. Although they were not as precious as the space divine artifact, Ice Snow Jade Pendant, taking 2 mid-grade divine artifacts back to the barbaric wilderness continent would be enough to drive countless martial artists mad. Even among the countless true gods of the upper realms of the minor pole sky on the barbaric wilderness continent, not many possessed mid-grade divine artifacts. It was only because Bing Ao was a 6 Tribulations true god that Yi Chun was able to obtain such treasures from him. One of these mid-grade divine artifacts was an offensive one named Thunder Gourd. The Thunder Gourd could attack over a wide range, directly capturing countless martial artists within 100 miles into the gourd and refining them into nothingness. If one did not have the means to block the attack of the Thunder Gourd, even a 4 Tribulations true god captured within the gourd could be directly killed. Not to mention those at the Heavenly Saint realm, without powerful divine-level methods, once captured by the Thunder Gourd, they would certainly be killed instantly. Even 5 Tribulations and 6 Tribulations true gods, despite their immense strength, would not be killed outright by the Thunder Gourd, but if they were carelessly captured within, they would still be trapped and could possibly suffer significant losses. Yi Chen's divine-level methods included only the 2 true god talismans left by True Phoenix and Shepherd Cloud true god. Now with the addition of this offensive divine artifact, Thunder Gourd, Yi Chun had gained another immensely powerful method of attack. The second treasure obtained from Bing Ao was an auxiliary divine artifact called the Ice Treasure Divine Ring. This Ice Treasure Divine Ring, forged by a powerful 9 Tribulations true god of the Ice Wing tribe, involved countless divine power rules and possessed 3 amazing effects: treasure-seeking, space, and concealment. Treasure-seeking meant that the Ice Treasure Divine Ring had a special sensitivity to treasures within 100 miles. In exploratory territories, it could help true gods easily discover treasures, not to mention aiding other realm martial artists. This was the feature Yichun valued most. For martial artists, exploring to find treasures is an important part of cultivation. With the Ice Treasure Divine Ring's treasure-seeking ability, Yichun's chances of finding treasures would be greatly increased. As for the space function, it turned the Ice Treasure Divine Ring into a storage space. Yichun already had the Ice Snow Jade Pendant and the Heavenly Spirit Ring and thus wasn't lacking in storage space, but acquiring another large storage space was still quite satisfying for him. The third special effect, Concealment, was another feature that caught Yichun's attention and made him choose this item. Once Yichun activated the concealment function of the Ice Treasure Divine Ring, martial artists below the rank of the Fifth Order True God, unless they possessed powerful treasures capable of breaking through concealment, would absolutely not be able to detect Yichun while concealed. This concealment effect was far more significant than that of artifacts like the Tongming Mirror, which was only effective on those at the Heavenly Saint level. With this treasure, even without relying on True God talismans and still lacking the power to oppose 3 tribulations and 4 tribulations true gods, Yichun stood a good chance at successfully attacking or escaping through stealth and concealment. Trading a single elimination that did not affect his own assessment points for the Thunder Gourd and Ice Treasure Divine Ring, Yichun was quite satisfied with the results. As for the 2 blood cards in his hand, touching them made Yichun shake his head and smile. The first blood card was obviously the one he obtained when he eliminated that True God hunter of the Ice Wing tribe, Fang Luo. The second blood card, coincidentally, came just before the end of the assessment when Yichun had just reached a deal with Bing Ao. With a little time still on his hands, Yichun asked to continue eliminating other Ice Wing tribe martial artists to accumulate more assessment points. Bing Ao naturally wouldn't refuse Yichun's request. After all, the more assessment points Yichun amassed, the more reward points Bing Ao would ultimately receive from him. As a result, after Yichun had killed and eliminated several Ice Wing tribe Heavenly Saints, he encountered one of the remaining 9 True God hunters. Find adventures on. It was a 2 tribulations True God. This time, Bing Ao no longer pursued him, and Yichun naturally had the confidence to directly attack this 2 tribulations True God who had also participated in the pursuit earlier. In the end, Yichun used up the last 5th of the divine power of the True God talisman left by True Phoenix and successfully killed the 2 tribulations True God, obtaining yet another blood card. Using the last bit of remaining divine power to obtain a blood card, a chance to exchange for treasures left by Heavenly Cloud Venerable within Ice God Mountain, was definitely worth it for Yichun. Ultimately, the entirety of Yichun's spoils from the Ice God Mountain consisted of 2 divine artifacts, 2 blood cards, and 367 combat achievements for eliminating Heavenly Saint warriors of the Ice Wing tribe. When Yichun walked towards the crowd with his great haul, Fang Hua and the other warriors from the lower realm all surged towards him. Yichun, you actually obtained 2 blood cards. You actually managed to kill and eliminate 2 True God hunters of the Ice Wing tribe. How did you do it? Although he hadn't really killed those True God hunters of the Ice Wing tribe, this was because the blood cards had taken their place to shield them from a death crisis once. If it hadn't been a trial but a real battle instead, it would have meant that Yichun had slain 2 great True Gods of the Ice Wing tribe. That, of course, left numerous warriors from the lower realm incredibly shocked and deeply curious about how Yichun managed to do this. With a smile, Yichun began to tell these people about the True God talismans. Not long after Yichun, the second trial also came to a complete end, and when the little provincial princess and others returned, many of the remaining people surrounded the little provincial princess and her group as well. The scene was lively for a while. Half an hour later, after transporting the majority of the warriors back to the realms they came from, those who had accumulated less than 1,000 points from the second trial, only 31 warriors remained in the minor pole sky cultivation site. Among these 31 warriors, there were 3 from the lower realm: Yichun, Fang Hua, and a young man named Xiao Yi. The rest were the young people from the Divine Kingdom and the little provincial princess, along with the 4 descendants of the 4 great generals. The 31 warriors had the opportunity to enter the third cultivation site, the Divine Soul cultivation site, which was somewhat stronger than those who had come to cultivate in the minor pole sky last time. However, these 31 did not proceed directly to the third cultivation site. Before that, the 2 people who had obtained blood cards, Yi-chun and the little provincial princess had the chance to select treasures left behind by the heavenly cloud venerable in the ice god mountain. Under the envious gazes of the other 29, Yi-chun and the little provincial princess, led by Lan Shi God King, were transported to a special space within the ice god mountain. The special space where the heavenly cloud venerable had left unique treasures. Upon seeing the divine platforms in the special space, each housing no less than 1,000 divine artifacts and divine treasures, Yi-chan and the little provincial princess exchanged glances, both of their eyes shining brightly. Even though the little provincial princess came from an eastern provincial noble house, the sheer number of treasures left by the heavenly cloud venerable still broadened her horizons significantly. Big brother Yi-chun, let's go select some treasures. The little provincial princess Fang Luo said to Yi-chan with a giggly smile. This time, the little provincial princess had eliminated a 4 tribulations true god. Yi-chan had also heard the little provincial princess speaking about this process. When he heard how she fiercely battled the 4 tribulations true god using a powerful divine artifact, and even had to deploy 3 divine artifacts in succession to completely eliminate that true god, Yi-chun couldn't help but admire the much younger little provincial princess. Yi-chun knew all too well how difficult it was to deal with true gods. Even possessing true god talismans and divine artifacts, without rich combat experience and strong personal strength, it would be impossible to truly adeptly wield such external means, nor achieve this feat. After nodding to the little provincial princess with a smile, Yi-chun joined her in selecting from among the thousands of divine artifacts and divine treasures. In the end, Yi-chun picked out 2 new treasures that pleased him even more than the 2 he had previously obtained from Bing Ao. 1 divine artifact, 1 divine treasure. A divine treasure is a god-level treasure naturally nurtured into being, unlike a divine artifact which is forged by powerful beings. The precious divine treasures, compared to the value of divine artifacts, are hardly less remarkable. The new divine artifact chosen by a very satisfied Yi-chun was a divine sword called Purple Lightning. The divine treasure was a bar-shaped object that would continuously nourish and strengthen the 3 vital signs of Yi-chen's spirit, Qi, and essence. The Heaven Origin Stone. Chapter 517-4 months later. Yi-chen looked at the Purple Lightning Divine Sword and Heavenly Origin Divine Stone in his hand, nodding in satisfaction. Heavenly Cloud Venerable had left more than 1,000 divine artifacts and divine treasures in this special treasure space, and from the vast collection, Yi-chun had chosen just these 2 pieces, which spoke volumes about their allure to him. The Purple Lightning Divine Sword was a superior-grade offensive divine artifact, more powerful than the medium-grade divine artifact Thunder Gourd Yi-chen had previously obtained from Bing Ao. The reason this divine sword caught Yi-chen's eye was not just because of its superior-grade offensive artifact status, but more importantly, it had 3 major forbidden sword techniques hidden within. The 3 forbidden sword techniques were respectively known as Purple Glow, Extreme Lightning, and the Ultimate Sword Technique, sharing the same name as the sword itself, Purple Lightning. By mastering the first forbidden sword technique, Purple Glow, one could directly unleash 30% of the Purple Lightning Divine Sword's hidden power. Mastering the second technique, Extreme Lightning, would unlock 60%. Once the Ultimate Sword Technique, Purple Lightning, was mastered, it would fully unleash all 10 levels of hidden power within the Purple Lightning Divine Sword, even potentially doubling its combat prowess to the level of a heaven-reaching divine artifact. On the surface, the Purple Lightning Divine Sword appeared to be just a superior-grade offensive divine artifact, but with all its hidden powers combined, it truly reached the level of a heaven-reaching divine artifact. Although the 3 forbidden sword techniques were extremely difficult to learn, the mere true power of a heaven-reaching divine artifact was more than enough to attract Yi-chun. Moreover, Yi-chen had been looking for a sword-type weapon to wield. The black fire sword he was previously using was simply a top-grade treasure artifact, which was now far from sufficient for his use in battle. The red fire flying sword, although of top-grade holy artifact quality and very useful, posed potential to transform into a divine artifact under the nourishment of the embryonic form of the virtual heaven sword. But as a flying sword, its combat style was more suited for sneak attacks rather than direct confrontations. With the purple lightning divine sword, Yi-chun once again truly possessed a very important weapon for direct combat. As for choosing the divine treasure, heavenly origin divine stone, which could continually nurture and strengthen the three major signs of life, essence, qi, and spirit, it was because Yi-chun realized that enhancing these three vital signs was most crucial for the cultivation of both lower-plane martial artists and those from the divine kingdom. Yi-chun already possessed quite a few treasures, but upon seeing that the heavenly origin divine stone was highly regarded by Heavenly Cloud Venerable himself as greatly beneficial for the three signs of life and required no special cultivation, if one merely carried it daily, Yi-chun naturally did not hesitate to choose this treasure. With this treasure, Yi-chun believed that even without cultivating in the divine kingdom, his foundation would not be weaker than that of the cultivators there. After Yi-chun chose his treasures, he waited for little provincial princess Feng Luo to make her selection. Although the little provincial princess was only 12 years old, still a little girl, her insights were anything but shallow, given she came from the eastern provincial king's residence. In the end, the little provincial princess did not select a divine artifact. Instead, like Yi-chun, she chose a divine treasure known as the multi-spirit treasure jade. This multi-spirit treasure jade had a significant effect on enhancing the true Qi life vital sign, one of the three major life signs, even stronger in that aspect than Yi-chun's heavenly origin divine stone. While it did not enhance the other two life signs as much as the heavenly origin divine stone, the little provincial princess's weakest aspect was her true Qi life vital sign, so she preferred the multi-spirit treasure jade more. After both Yi-chun and the little provincial princess chose their desired treasures, Lan Shigod King smiled and nodded before leading them out of the special treasure space. Only long after the three of them had left did an elder of the Ice Wing tribe bring the true god hunters, who had earned enough reward points, into the special treasure space to make their selections following Yi-chun and the little provincial princess. Among them was Bing Ao, the true god hunter who had exchanged his two divine artifacts with Yi-chun for over 4,000 points, and he became the one who could redeem the most treasures. After selecting 4 treasures he wanted, Bing Ao smiled in satisfaction and muttered to himself, "Thanks to my trade with young friend Yi-chun, I had this opportunity to exchange for these 4 treasures. I must keep this favor from Yi-chun in my heart." Of course, Yi-chun was unaware of Bing Ao's thoughts. Once he, the little provincial princess, and Lan Shigod King returned to the icy land outside Ice God Mountain, they, along with the other 29 martial artists who had broken into the 3rd level, set off for the 3rd cultivation site. For months later, Yi-chun burst forth from the ultimate 5th training location in the minor pole sky. Behind Yi-chun, of the original 31 who entered the 3rd training location, only the little provincial princess remained besides him. This meant that, in the end, only Yi-chun and the little provincial princess had managed to enter the ultimate 5th training location. During these 4 months, a lot had happened. As before, in the 1st physical training location, 88 training chambers, and the 2nd true Qi training location, 1,000 Leaves platform of the laws, Yi-chun and the other 31 cultivators spent a month training in the 3rd location dedicated to divine soul cultivation, the Shock the Divine Tower. In this month, others might not have been clear, but Yi-chun's divine soul strength had truly undergone a qualitative leap. After being refined by the venerable level training secret realm of the Shock the Divine Tower, Yi-chun's already powerful divine soul had become even more terrifyingly strong. Now, even true gods below the level of the 5th tribulation launching a divine soul attack against Yi-chun would find him confidently resilient. Besides the tremendous increase in divine soul strength, another significant gain was Yi-chun's completion of the incredibly powerful divine arts of the divine soul, Destruction Eye skills, which he originally acquired from the Fat and Thin Saints. He had not only completed his training but even surpassed the level that the Fat and Thin Saints had achieved. The Destruction Eye skills of the divine soul possessed 2 great divine mights, destruction and annihilation. The divine might of destruction could see through many hidden things, concealed attacks included, and the divine might of annihilation was even capable of directly launching divine soul attacks. Having learned this set of divine arts, Yi-chun also made a qualitative improvement in terms of divine soul techniques. With 3 major life signs, Yi Chun now had the basis of the icebound divine body with its 810 forms and the undying divine body for his physical techniques. He had the 5 great divine arts and sword arts for his true chi techniques, and now, for his divine soul techniques, Yi Chun also possessed the divine might of the destruction eye skills. After the 3 training locations, Yi Chun's combat skills had truly reached the pinnacle of what he could master at his current stage. Stay tuned for updates on. After completing the training at the 3rd location, Shock the Divine Tower, Yi Chun and the other 30 martial artists proceeded to the 3rd test area for assessment, the Shock the Divine Bridge, where they underwent the 3rd 7-day assessment. This assessment had even higher requirements than the previous 2. They needed to accumulate a total of 10,000 assessment points to pass this test and enter the 4th training location. The method of assessment involved killing a type of spirit object that attacked with divine soul, known as puppet dolls, on the Shock the Divine Bridge. As expected, very few people managed to break into the 4th training location. Not only Feng Hua and Xiao Yi, the 2 remaining martial artists from the lower planes apart from Yi Chun, but all were eliminated. Even the young people of the Divine Kingdom, over 30 in number who had broken into the 3rd assessment location, were all eliminated. In the end, only Yi Chun, Little Provincial Princess, Tian Li, Zhao Xian, Meng Qi, and Hu Lin's 6 people successfully broke into the 4th training location. Among these 6, aside from Yi Chun, the remaining 5 were all descendants of the great powers of the Divine Kingdom. This caused Feng Hua and Xiao Yi, who were eliminated and eventually sent back to Minor Pole Sky's previous realms, to talk with Yi Chun for a long time, even expressing their admiration and amazement. It also made all the young people from the Divine Kingdom who were eliminated remember Yi Chun's name, remembering the deeds of Yi Chun in overcoming the first 3 challenges. After Yi Chun and the other 5 entered the 4th training location. On the extreme heavenly rankings, after 3 rounds of assessments, Yi Chun and the Little Provincial Princess were still far ahead. And the 4th training location was after the 3 major life sign training locations, entirely different from the previous 3. This 4th training location turned out to involve cultivating a secondary profession, a ray formation. Chapter 518. This formation involves the mysteries of spatial laws, laws far more profound than those comprehended by the heavenly saint of the lower realm during their assault on becoming a void sky true god. It touches upon deeper layers of spatial laws. It also involves many other infinite and wonderful laws besides spatial ones, including some aspects of the time law. This formation even includes teleportation formations, attack formations, defensive arrays, and other categories of cultivation. Although formation arts are a secondary profession, not like the cultivation of essence, chi, and spirit, the 3 primary vital signs of life, it's as mysteriously profound even as a secondary vocation. Only upon reaching this 4th cultivation site did Yi Chun realize that what made Heavenly Cloud Venerable truly formidable was his mastery of formation arts. It was due to such skills that Heavenly Cloud Venerable could establish teleportation divine formations across various lower realms, allowing martial artists from incredibly distant lower realms to enter Minor Pole Sky. It was because of these formation arts that Heavenly Cloud Venerable was able to traverse major lower realms, leaving behind countless sites of adventure. Yi Chun came to understand the deep connections among the 3 major adventure sites of the 33 continents and their mysterious link to the formations. At the 4th cultivation site, Yi Chun, the Little Provincial Princess, Tian Li, Zhao Xian, Meng Qi, and Hu Lin, the 6 of them were engaging for the first time in this wondrous secondary profession of formation cultivation, something completely different from the primary cultivation methods of essence, chi, and spirit. Formation arts, with their boundless mysteries. An entire month at the 4th site wasn't nearly enough for Yi Chun and his companions to pursue this cultivation. They had only just gained a basic understanding of formations when the month of cultivation came to an end. And in the next trial, the 4th test, they were to compete in a 7-day formation competition. In the end, Yi Chun and the Little Provincial Princess, thanks to their previously accumulated huge points advantage from the Celestial Spirit Leaderboard and their deeper comprehension of formations compared to Tian Li and the other 3, became the only 2 to break into the 5th cultivation site, the final destination within Minor Pole Sky. For both to break into the final cultivation site was an event rarely seen in the countless years of Minor Pole Sky's secret realm. and the ultimate fifth cultivation site offered a full 1.5 months of cultivation, focused on a manual personally penned by Heavenly Cloud Venerable, the 9 volumes of formation array. It turned out that the basic formation practice in the fourth site was merely Heavenly Cloud Venerable's way of selecting martial artists for the ultimate cultivation site. Only those truly passing through the fourth site earned the right to cultivate the true arts of Heavenly Cloud Venerable's 9 volumes of formation array. Also, by cultivating this manual, they indeed established a connection with Heavenly Cloud Venerable, becoming the inheritors of his techniques. While not officially apprentices, Heavenly Cloud Venerable made it clear that after mastering the first 3 volumes of 9 volumes of formation array, one may directly request to become his disciple if one wishes. Only after earnestly beginning the cultivation of 9 volumes of formation array did Yi Chun realize the strength of formations and the power of Heavenly Cloud Venerable. Based on Yi Chun's premonition, after completely mastering these 9 volumes, even if he didn't use his physical body, chi, or spiritual life signs, his formation skills alone would surely slay countless divine kings. Of course, Heavenly Cloud Venerable wouldn't leave the complete 9 volumes of formation array in the ultimate cultivation site. He only left the first 3 volumes here. Heavenly Cloud Venerable stated that the 5th site is the last cultivation site within Minor Pole Sky. These first 3 volumes must be learned one by one. With 1.5 months, if one could master the first volume, they could take the remaining 2 volumes to continue their cultivation. Yi Chun and the little provincial princess, while at the 4th cultivation site, developed an intense interest in deepening their understanding of this new method of formation arts. Especially Yi Chun, who wanted to thoroughly understand the principles behind the ancient and mysterious teleportation formations and attack formations. As a result, upon entering the 5th site, both began to earnestly cultivate the first 3 volumes of 9 volumes of formation array. They did not disappoint Heavenly Cloud Venerable. After the 1.5 months of cultivation, both had mastered the techniques of the first volume of 9 volumes of formation array, and moved on to studying the second volume. Ultimately, by the end of the cultivation period, Yi Chun and the little provincial princess managed to obtain copies of the last 2 volumes of 9 volumes of formation array to continue their study and cultivation after leaving Minor Pole Sky. The 3rd site, along with its associated tests and trials, had taken Yi Chun 1 month and 7 days. The 4th site, with all its tests and trials, also took Yi Chun another month and 7 days. For the final 5th cultivation site, Yi Chun engaged in an entire month and a half of cultivation. After entering the 3rd site, Yi Chun spent nearly 4 months to finally emerge from the ultimate cultivation realm of Minor Pole Sky. Adding on the cultivation and trials at the 1st and 2nd sites, since Yi Chun came to Minor Pole Sky, he had altogether spent a total of 6.5 months. 6.5 months, plus the 3 months of adventure on 5 Elements Mountain, and the time it took to reach the mountain earlier. Yi Chun had not returned to the barbaric wilderness continent for 10 months. Emerging from the ultimate cultivation site, Yi Chun knew he was finally going back to the barbaric wilderness continent, back to Heavenly Sacred Palace, back to seeing Jiang Yao. 10 months. Yi Chun missed Jiang Yao immensely. Outside the 5th cultivation site, which is the ultimate destination in Minor Pole Sky. As Yi Chun flew out from the ultimate cultivation site, the little provincial princess emerged by his side as well. Besides Yi Chun and the little provincial princess, the only other onlookers were the 6 divine kings and divine venerable Hong Zhu. The 6 divine kings included God King Lei Yun, who had led Yi Chun to Minor Pole Sky, God King Wuzan in charge of the 1st cultivation site and 1st set of trials, and God King Lan Shi, responsible for the 2nd site and its trials. The other 3 divine kings were Troy God King, overseeing the 3rd site and its trials, Bright Tower God King, in charge of the 4th site and its trials, and Heavenly Scripture God King, responsible for the ultimate cultivation site. The 6 divine kings, like divine venerable Hong Zhu, had watched step by step as Yi Chun and the little provincial princess made it to the very last challenge. Even Heavenly Scripture God King, towards the end, had been kept informed about their progress and trials by the previous kings, thereby learning of Yi Chun and the little provincial princess's cultivation journey. The little provincial princess was a being that surpassed a divine venerable, the youngest daughter of the East Territory King, a top figure of the mountain divine nation. Yichen, on the other hand, was a martial artist from the lower realm. One was of such high status that it was inconceivable. The other was of such common origin that it was extreme, and these two of such tremendous contrast had both reached the end, naturally leaving a profound impression on all 6 god kings. Especially at the last moment, Yichen and the little provincial princess had successfully cultivated the first volume of the 9 volumes of Formation Array, from the great heavenly cloud Venerable, which made all 6 god kings remember Yichen and the little provincial princess distinctly. After all, the 6 god kings knew that with their speed of cultivation, it probably wouldn't be a problem to receive personal instruction from the great heavenly cloud Venerable in the future. And the 6 of them were god kings under the great heavenly cloud Venerable, so of course, they paid exceptional attention to both of them. Especially to Yichen, the martial artist from the lower realm, they truly began to take notice. Brother Yichen, are you really not coming with me to the first divine city of the East Territory? If you come with me to the first divine city, I can have Daddy personally take action to send you back. The little lowly princess, Fang Luo, looked into Yichen's eyes and asked aloud. The cultivation in Minor Polsky had come to a complete end, and now the remaining Yichen and the little provincial princess also had to return to their respective homes. Thinking of how it might be another unknown day before seeing Yichen again if he returned to the celestial spirit star, the little lowly was very reluctant to part with him. Having cultivated and braved challenges together with Yichen, the little lowly princess had started out merely curious and with a small admiration for him. The more they faced assessments and challenges, and the more they cultivated, the deeper the little provincial princess's admiration for Yichen grew. Eventually, when all the cultivation assessments were complete, and Yichen consistently occupied the first place on the ultimate spirit list, he fully captured the heart of the little provincial princess, who had always considered her own talent for cultivation as exceptional. Although the little provincial princess was much younger than Yichen, securing the 2nd rank on the ultimate spirit list, her achievements were not far off from Yichen's when it really came down to it. But Yichen came from the lower realm, unlike the little provincial princess who could cultivate under the guidance of the East Territory King. In the heart of the little lowly princess, Yichen was the first peer of the younger generation that she truly recognized as surpassing her. Now, faced with parting from Yichen, the little provincial princess was, of course, very reluctant to let go. Yichen, smiling at the little lowly princess whose stature reached only to his shoulders, said with a smile, "I'm going to head back, so I won't be going to the divine nation's first divine city." 10 months had passed. Yichen was missing Jiangyao terribly, longing for his parents, yearning for everything about the barbaric wilderness continent. He did not want to delay his return any longer. Oh! Seeing the look of eagerness to return home in Yichen's eyes, the little provincial princess gave a soft, reluctant hum. But immediately thereafter, the little lowly seemed to think of something exciting, bouncing and saying, "Brother Yichen, if I visit the celestial spirit star in the future, if I come to the barbaric wilderness continent to play, you wouldn't mind, right?" Yichen laughed. "Of course. We would welcome the little provincial princess to visit our celestial spirit star." Hearing Yichen agree, the little lowly princess smiled sweetly. This time, she had told her father, the East Territory King, that she was coming to cultivate in Minor Polsky, and even the divine venerable Hongzhu had accompanied her here. The East Territory King had further instructed that once the little provincial princess's cultivation was complete, she should hurry back to the East Territory King's estate, where he wanted to personally assess the results of her cultivation and help her consolidate her achievements. It was not proper for the little provincial princess to go directly to the celestial spirit star with Yichen. However, as long as Yichen agreed, and with her father's tremendous divine powers, Fang Luo, the little provincial princess, was confident that she could definitely visit the celestial spirit star and see the barbaric wilderness continent that Yichen spoke of. She also wanted to know the place where Yichen was born, what the barbaric wilderness continent was really like. Seeing the little provincial princess finally put her reluctance aside, the divine venerable Hongzhu smiled and also exchanged a few words with Yichen. Read exclusive chapters at novelbin.com. Even all 6 god kings came to bid farewell to Yichen. In the end, the most powerful among the 6 god kings, Heavenly Scripture God King, even said to Yichen with a smile, "Little friend Yichen, I am a disciple of my master, the heavenly cloud venerable. Since you have successfully cultivated the first volume of the 9 volumes of formation array, you can consider yourself my junior brother too. Since you are returning to the barbaric wilderness continent of the celestial spirit star, let me help you on your journey. Otherwise, if you were to teleport back in the same way you came, you would have to return to the original teleportation divine formation and take quite a detour. The barbaric wilderness continent, I have looked it up. My master had once left a teleportation anomaly in the chaotic sea area there. I can send you directly to that teleportation anomaly, and you'll be able to reach the barbaric wilderness continent immediately. Hearing what the heavenly scripture God King said, Yi-chun was overjoyed. Being directly teleported to the teleportation anomaly in the chaotic sea area of the barbaric wilderness continent. In that case, he wouldn't have to rush back to the barbaric wilderness continent from the 5 Elements Mountain. Although he now possessed the 9 volumes of formation array from the great heavenly cloud venerable and had come to truly understand even the 3 great adventure zones, no longer fearing the formidable restrictions within the 5 Elements Mountain. But to be directly teleported back to the barbaric wilderness continent, without having to take a detour to the heavenly evolution continent, would certainly be more convenient. After 10 months, I'm finally going back to the barbaric wilderness continent. A smile flickered in Yi-chun's heart. However, what Yi-chun didn't know was that since he entered into the final phase of cultivation in the minor pole sky, especially after the last 4 months, the situation on the barbaric wilderness continent had already reached a turning point of real change. Even the formal Great War between the chaotic sea area and the Western Desolation's 10 great demon sects against the southern 13 nations had truly erupted. Chapter 5:19- Senior. Spare my life. Black Spirit Trench is a notorious sea trench within the chaotic sea area of the barbaric wilderness continent, known throughout the entire chaotic sea. This sea trench, every martial artist in the chaotic sea area, even those in the heavenly saint realm, knows the 4 words associated with it. Do not approach. The Black Spirit Trench is the most dangerous territory in the entire chaotic sea area. Even supreme martial artists in the later stages of the heavenly saint realm entering this area would surely die within. It is rumored that even powerful void sky true gods from the minor spirit realm of the upper realm who inadvertently entered the Black Spirit Trench met their demise directly. Due to the terror of this territory, Black Spirit Trench is infamous throughout the entire chaotic sea area, and all martial artists who come to this region are warned by others never to approach the trench. Thus, despite the Black Spirit Trench being well known in the entire chaotic sea area, the area within hundreds of miles of the trench, as usual, remains absolutely uninhabited and unapproached. On this day, within the Black Spirit Trench, which in the eyes of countless martial artists is a deadly forbidden land, waves continuously rippled, and finally, amidst the infinite surging waves that soared to the sky, a figure directly flew out from this deadly forbidden land that even true gods wouldn't dare to approach. This figure, tall and slender with an extraordinary bearing, had delicate features and exceptionally bright eyes. It was none other than Yi-chun, who had returned to the barbaric wilderness continent from the minor pole sky. The Black Spirit Trench, seen by all as a deadly forbidden land, was actually the transcendental transfer point left in the chaotic sea area by Lord Tianyun years ago. Because of the Lord's divine body skills inside, even true gods absolutely couldn't approach this place. Of course, Yi-chun had been teleported here with the help of the heavenly scripture God King, and holding 9 volumes of formation array from Lord Tianyun, he had mastered the first volume and naturally could see through the killing prohibitions within this transcendental transfer point. Where others dared not to intrude upon this territory, Yi-chun emerged unscathed, directly flying out. Fortunately, since all martial artists in the chaotic sea area dared not approach, otherwise, if someone saw Yi-chun flying out from the Black Spirit Trench, they would likely faint from shock. Suddenly soaring into the sky and being teleported from the depths of the sea trench to the void, Yi-chun's gaze fell upon the vast expanse of sea in the chaotic sea area below him. This was his first visit to the chaotic sea area, but Yi-chun felt a profound sense of familiarity rather than unfamiliarity. Because this was no longer the minor pole sky, but rather the barbaric wilderness continent where he had lived for over a decade. He had finally returned here. I didn't expect that after parting with the little provincial princess, divine venerable Hongzhu, and the 6 divine kings, I would return to the barbaric wilderness continent so quickly. This process was even faster than when I was initially teleported from the 5 Elements Mountain to the minor pole sky. Enjoy exclusive chapters from novelbin.com. Indeed, as Lord Tianyun said in the 9 volumes of Formation Array, one-to-one cross-realm pinpoint teleportation is much simpler than large-scale teleportation methods and techniques. When Yi Chun left for the 5 Elements Mountain from the barbaric wilderness continent, he had been but a junior rotating pill stage youth. While his skills had already enabled him to battle mid-stage Heavenly Saint practitioners and even stand his ground against quite a few late-stage Heavenly Saints using certain methods, 10 months had passed, and Yi Chun had become completely different from when he left for 5 Elements Mountain. Now, after special training in the 5 Elements Mountain and particularly in the minor pole sky, Yi Chun had experienced qualitative improvements, leaps, and transformations. In terms of the true Qi realm, Yi Chun had advanced directly from the early stage of rotating pill to the late stage, and was even just half a step away from the Heavenly Saint realm. An even greater achievement was that he had cultivated the 3rd chapter of the primordial star scripture, Taiyuan chapter, to an almost extreme level, just a whisker away from advancing to the 4th chapter. As for his physical body skills, Yi Chun had progressed from the basic 9 transformation fighting body and icebound divine bodies, 810 forms, to mastering a new divine body skill, the undying divine body. Yi Chun now possessed even the undying factor within his body, significantly enhancing both his combat power and endurance. Even for his divine soul skills, Yi Chun had developed the destruction eye skills. The Yi Chun of today didn't only dare face mid-stage Heavenly Saints but was bold enough to battle late-stage Heavenly Saint practitioners. The Yi Chun of now could easily dispatch even the strongest among the late-stage Heavenly Saints. Yi Chun was confident he could sweep across the entire barbaric wilderness continent and even all of the 33 continents' Heavenly Saints. Having transformed in the cultivation secret realm of minor pole sky at the level of a heavenly divine venerable, Yi Chun now had the confidence to do so. Even though Yi Chun didn't yet have the real combat power to fight Void Sky True Gods head-on without relying on True God talismans, with treasures like Thunder Gourd and Purple Lightning Divine Sword that he acquired in the minor pole sky, along with other treasures, he was confident he could slay any 4 tribulations or 3 tribulations true gods with divine artifacts. Even against 5 tribulations or 6 tribulations true gods, with the divine artifacts in his hand, Yi Chun could ensure they would not be able to oppress him easily. Yi Chun had grown from a junior youth of inferior realm into a true overlord in the present. At least on this barbaric wilderness continent, he was truly powerful. After reminiscing for a while about the events and people he encountered in the 5 Elements Mountain and minor pole sky, Yi Chun's gaze turned northwards towards the 13 countries of Southern Territory, and even further to the center region of the Heavenly Sacred Palace. Chapter 520. After leaving the chaotic sea area, I can return to the Heavenly Splendor Kingdom and visit my parents, and then go to the Heavenly Sacred Palace to see how Zhang Yao's cultivation has progressed under the guidance of True Phoenix and Mulan True God. After that, it will be about time to open the main hall of the Icebound Temple and obtain the true inheritance of the Ice Seal Divine King. The Hall Spirit of the Icebound Temple's sub-palace had said that after about a year's time, Yi Chun would be able to go to the main hall of the Icebound Temple to receive the inheritance. Counting the time since Yi Chun left the sub-palace of the Icebound Temple, it's been almost 10 months. In just 1 or 2 more months, he should be able to enter the main hall of the Icebound Temple. Although Yi Chun has become exceedingly powerful now, he is not the least bit satisfied. He still aims for the Heavenly Saint realm, the Void Sky True God realm, and even to reach for the Divine King and Divine Venerable realms. The family members of the Divine Phoenix clan and countless martial artists are still in the hands of the Black Crow God King. Yi Chun promised Zhang Yao to rescue her clan members and her parents from the Black Crow God King, and he will definitely fulfill that promise. Moreover, after receiving the inheritance of the Ice Seal Divine King, to take revenge against Enai Shan God King, on behalf of the Ice Seal Divine King, Yi Chun promised the Hall Spirit of the Sub-Palace and the 9 Ice Seal Guardians, and he will definitely fulfill this promise as well. Then there's the person who gave him the inheritance, Lord Tianyun, whom Yi Chun also wants to meet and see what kind of mighty figure he is. He also wants to meet the little provincial princess of the Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation, the East Territory King who surpasses the Divine Venerable Realm, and even the supreme beings like the Divine Nation's ruler. Yi Chun wants to see for himself what kind of powerful beings they are. Even more so, there is the ZG Star Lord who left behind the primordial star scripture. Yi Chun has made many promises and has countless pursuits, all of which require him to continue becoming stronger. With that thought, Yi Chun's mind and spirit stirred, and he flew away from the Black Spirit Trench. Returning to the barbaric wilderness continent, everything starts again, and the journey continues. Chaotic Sea Area. A group of thousands of martial artists was being captured on a giant flying boat thousands of feet long, heading deeper into the Chaotic Sea Area. These thousands of martial artists were all wearing the clothing of sect martial artists from the 13 countries of the Southern Territory, and among them, 3 were even clad in the attire of the Heavenly Sacred Palace. Among these people, the strongest were at the mid-stage of the Heavenly Saint Realm, while the weakest were at the Spirit Sea Realm. Regardless of their realm, each of them appeared disheveled, with faces and garments smeared with blood, their bodies bound by thick chains of prohibition, looking extremely haggard. Standing beside them were several dozen martial artists who spoke loudly and boastfully. These martial artists were wearing the unified black attire of the Chaotic Sea Area, among them even a late-stage Heavenly Saint. At that moment, those thousands of martial artists looked at the dozen or so from the Chaotic Sea Area beside them with eyes brimming with rage. These scumbags have launched a massive war against our Southern Territory for the past 3 months, plunging our entire Southern Territory into war. How many cities have been burned down? How many families torn apart? Homes destroyed and people killed? These people are to blame. If it weren't for reinforcements from the Heavenly Sacred Palace to our Southern Territory, I fear our entire Southern Territory would have been completely destroyed at the hands of these Chaotic Sea and Western Wilderness demon sex scum. Unfortunately, the Heavenly Sacred Palace has always been indifferent to worldly affairs, with very few restraints on the Heavenly Saints. Even if the 3 palace masters of the Heavenly Sacred Palace all came to our aid in the Southern Territory, facing the countless crazed Heavenly Saints in the Chaotic Sea Area, many Heavenly Saints from the Heavenly Sacred Palace chose to withdraw from the battle. During the war, our situation grew increasingly dire. It's only Heavenly Wind Kingdom, with the 3 palace masters of Heavenly Sacred Palace personally overseeing it, that hasn't fallen into the disadvantage, but the other 12 nations, despite the support of many Heavenly Saints, are completely at a disadvantage. This time, a group of people from our Tianyun nation carelessly fell into the conspiracy of these Chaotic Sea bastards. A large number of them died, and the rest were captured and taken to the Chaotic Sea. I'm afraid these people are harboring no good intentions by seizing us to the Chaotic Sea. The anger in the eyes of these thousands of martial artists seemed to enrage the dozens of martial artists beside them, as 7 or 8 of them immediately picked up whips and lashed fiercely at these martial artists. While whipping, the 7 or 8 people cursed, "Keep it together. All of you are going to die soon anyway, what's the use of glaring? Sooner or later, your entire Southern Territory will be conquered by us." The bound martial artists, with their combat power already forbidden, could hardly resist. After a few lashes, their bodies were instantly flayed open. Find adventures at novelbin.com. Even the powerful mid-stage Heavenly Saints were whipped to the point where their skin split and flesh burst open. But the 7 or 8 people who were whipping them showed no signs of stopping, continuing their assault, while the dozens of martial artists from the Chaotic Sea Area and that late-stage Heavenly Saint existence laughed loudly as they watched this group scream in agony. Just when the thousands of martial artists from the 13 nations of the Southern Territory, even those 3 martial artists from Heavenly Sacred Palace, were beginning to falter under the lashing, about to faint from the pain, amid the raucous laughter of the dozens of martial artists from the Chaotic Sea Area, this giant flying boat, flying through the void, suddenly burst open with a bang. And then, a boundless force enveloped the thousands of bound martial artists completely within it. The 7 or 8 people whipping these thousands of martial artists were directly swept up by a force, completely devoid of any ability to resist, and were dragged up into the high void, unable to move an inch. Then, a piercingly bright sword light flashed before everyone's eyes. instantly shooting towards these people and piercing them all in the void, killing them on the spot. Among these people, even a mid-stage heavenly saint existence had no power to resist and also died in the void. What's going on? Who is it that dares to kill my chaotic sea martial artists? This sudden turn of events saw the remaining martial artists from the chaotic sea area flying out from the wreckage of the exploded flying boat, looking towards the void. The thousands of martial artists from the 13 nations of Southern Territory and the 3 martial artists from Heavenly Sacred Palace were also incredibly shocked as they looked into the void. At this moment, everyone saw a young man step into the void, crossing thousands of zhang in one step, and appear before them all. The youth then reached out a hand, grabbing at the void, and all the remaining dozens of martial artists from the chaotic sea were caught and flung backwards, flying towards him. Even that late-stage heavenly saint existence from the chaotic sea had no power to resist whatsoever. When this scene unfolded, all the martial artists flying backwards from the chaotic sea area were so frightened that they turned pale, and even that late-stage heavenly saint existence from the chaotic sea area screamed out loud, "Senior, please spare our lives, Senior, please spare us." At this time, how could they not realize that the young man who had made a move was an existence beyond all of them? It was even very likely that he was a void sky true god. And the 3 martial artists from Heavenly Sacred Palace, the one in the middle, upon seeing this young man, couldn't help but exclaim in disbelief, "Yi-chan! It's Yi-chan!" Yi-chan was said to have disappeared in the 5 Elements Mountain. He's back.